Members, please ensure that your microphones are on. Laptops are muted.
Good morning. In accordance with sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. My name is Larry Clay and I'll be chairing today's session. Panel members today are Peter Reid, Dylan Reid, and Nellie Wolport. Our Deputy Secretary Treasurer today is Sabrina Salatino. We acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is a traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. Committee of Adjustment public hearings are now conducted in a hybrid and in-person and virtual format. Some applicants and participants will make their submissions in person, and others will participate virtually by electronic means through WebEx. The meetings are also streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel, and anyone wishing to view the hearing may watch on YouTube. Those who want to participate virtually and have registered in advance will be connecting with their computer or telephone and have the option of participating via video or audio only. When your item is called, you will be unmuted by the moderator. For both in-person and virtual participants, Committee of Adjustment staff will share presentations submitted in accordance with the written submission deadline. People attending in person today who want to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must fill out a decision request card, and those participating virtually need to submit a written request for a decision by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, you may be able to appeal the decision to the Toronto Local Appeal Body or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal. However, the provincial government amended the Planning Act and generally removed rights of third parties to appeal Committee of Adjustment decisions. Only the applicant, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, specified persons and public bodies are permitted to appeal decisions of the Committee of Adjustment. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. Today I'll call each item in the order listed on the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant may proceed with the presentation if desired. When the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak to the committee. The committee may ask questions and or take matter into committee for decision. Each speaker, including the applicant, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I'll comment when you're reaching the 5-minute mark. Any presentation or other materials you wish to submit to the committee must have been emailed in advance of the hearing. Staff and committee members cannot accept new materials at the hearing. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address, and remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first and make a presentation to the committee. Then, individuals either in support or oppose the application will be invited to speak. Generally, we call first on speakers in the hearing room and then those participating through WebEx. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant has an opportunity to rebut those issues raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of the discussion, and the application will be taken into committee for a decision. Madam Deputy Secretary Treasurer, any minutes to confirm from previous meetings?
Good morning, Mr. Chair and panel members. No minutes are ready yet.
Okay. Any declarations of interest from panel or staff for morning sessions? Seeing none. Any files to be closed this morning?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. We do have 3 files to be closed. These are previous deferred files. The landowners have agreed not to pursue their applications. So I'm going to need a motion. The first file is 74 Mathersfield Drive, file number A1130/20TEY. The second is 17 Day Avenue, file number A0464/23TEY. And the third file is 68 Douglas Drive, file number A0579/23TEY.
Okay, I'll move that those files be closed. Seconded by Mr. Reid. All in favor? Those files are closed. Any deferral requests for this morning?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. We do have 2 deferral requests. The first is item number 4, 78A Crescent Road, file number A0191/25TEY. The second is item 17, 80 Ellis Park Road, file number A0314/25TEY.
We can do number 4. Is number 17 with us today? Right now?
Yeah, I believe we can deal with both of them at this time.
Great. Okay, we'll move on to item number 4. This is 78A Crescent Road. This is an application to alter the existing three-story detached dwelling by enclosing the existing third-story deck, also to construct a new third-story deck. There are 3 residential dwellings on this site. Committee has before it a copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, a deferral request from the agent, an arborist report. We have email correspondence from Heritage Planning and from Metrolinx, and a staff report from Urban Forestry. We have correspondence in opposition from 78B Crescent Road, 78-2 Crescent Road, and another one from 78-2 Crescent Road. We have materials in operation in opposition from 78 Crescent Road, and correspondence in opposition from 80 Crescent Road. Suite 200.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have the agent online as well as one of the 3 registered speakers.
Okay. Good morning. Mr. Treen.
Through you, Mr. Chair, it's item number 4. So
Oh,
it's
beg your
Warner.
pardon. Beg your pardon. Mr. Cram, pardon me.
Warner, you have been unmuted.
Good morning, sir. Is he there?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we're going to try and call him.
Okay.
Number which you enter it in. For our company directory, press 1. For sales and product
Warner,
information,
you have been unmuted.
press 2. For customer service, press 4. For all other inquiries,
Do you
please
want
wait
to,
on the line for assistance.
do you want to move on and come back to him?
Through you, Mr. Chair, yes, let's move on to item number 17. Do you have the agent for that one? Through you, Mr. Chair, we'll move on to item number 17. We do have the agent online as well as one registered speaker.
Okay, item number 17 is 80 Ellis Park Road. This is an application to construct a new 3-story detached dwelling with a front integral garage, a front terrace with stairs, front second-story green roof canopy, a front third-story terrace, a rear basement walkout, a rear first-floor deck, and an integral hot tub and stairs, and a rear third-story balcony. There'll be one secondary unit within the basement. Committee has before a copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 6 photographs of trees on the subject property, covering letter from the agent, previous decision number affecting the subject property, arborist report, and a tree protection plan. We have email correspondence from Ravine Natural Feature Protection, transportation, and staff reports from Urban Forestry and Transportation Review and the TRCA. There are 3 form letters in support from owners occupants of 7682 Ellis Park Road, and a second one from 82 Ellis Park Road. Is correspondence and concern from Swansea Area Ratepayers Association.
Through you, Mr. Chair, at this time, we'll unmute the agent.
Hi, good morning, committee members. My name is Paige Reisha of Balloon Inc. Address is 222 The Esplanade, Toronto, Ontario, M5A4M8. I'm requesting to defer for 80 Ellis Park. We've worked with planning to remove 7 variances, reducing the total number of variances from 14 to 7. And we'd like the opportunity to, instead of submitting a messy marked up zoning notice, to go back through the zoning process, get a new updated zoning notice, and speak with neighbors about the changes that we've made.
That's great. Thank you very much. Panel, I don't think we have any questions on this. We have a speaker? No speakers?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we did have a speaker, Nicholas Singh, but he's not online. So.
Okay. All right. Panel will take it into committee. Dylan?
Yeah, I'm happy to move a deferral. I'll note that Nicholas Singh did ask for a deferral, so I'm assuming that he would be in favor of this as well. And it seems like a good idea to simplify this and to address all the issues once they're clarified. So I move we defer.
Okay, motion by Mr. Reed to defer, seconded by Ms. Volpert. All in favor? That item is deferred. Can we go back to item number 4?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we don't have the agent online.
Okay.
So let's just proceed with item 1, and then when we get to that item, hopefully they'll be online.
All right.
And also noted that item 18 is postponed.
Thank you. All right. We go back to the beginning of the agenda and start with item number 1, which is 1013 Bathurst Street. This is an application to legalize and maintain the existing rear ground floor enclosed porch for habitable space, the side metal stairs, and a rear ground floor deck which has been constructed without an authorized building permit. Committee has before it a copy plan and survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 4 photographs of the subject property, covering letter from the agent, and an order to comply.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent online, no registered speakers.
Okay. Morning, Mr. Treen. Mr. Treen, are you there?
Yeah, hello.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me? Hold on. Hello?
Hello?
I'm trying to get the sound. Here, hold on. Hello?
Hello, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect, that's all you need.
Okay.
If I can have your name and address, please.
Yeah, it's Peter Treen, 576 Bathurst Street, Toronto, M5S 2P9.
Okay, sir, I don't think we need a presentation today, but we would like an explanation as to how this work was undertaken without a building permit.
Correct, yeah. The stair was built, I think, before the
Please,
pandemic.
sir, can you just speak up a little bit?
The stair was constructed, my understanding is the stair was constructed around 2018, and it was in response to a fire next door. There was a rear yard fire, and I think the owner was a bit spooked by that. I'm not sure what triggered the, the order to comply, but it was in place. She had an engineer do drawings for the stair, and then it became evident that she would need a committee of adjustment application. So I've come in just in the last year or so to help her out. We have a letter of, we spoke to the neighbor directly north of Amanda, who has no objection to the application. She did provide us with a letter, but that was yesterday, so it was a bit too late to submit it. Anyway, so we're hoping that the house is oversized to begin with. So and it is, I guess the most egregious thing is the metal stair, which I guess has a setback of about 0.12 meters as opposed to the 0.6 that would be required.
Okay, thank you, panel. Any questions? All right, we have no questions, sir. Thank you very much. Take this into committee. Peter?
Thanks, Chair. I think this is a reasonable application. The stairs were the question, I think, for me, the impacts of that. But I think it's largely against a blank wall of the neighboring house, and the remainder of the variances are minor in terms of impact, I think. So I move approval without condition.
Right, motion by Mr. Reed to approve, seconded.
Can we
oh,
add the usual
Yeah, the caveat.
note at the bottom that we don't approve of building without a building permit?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, we'll put that in as
Okay.
a,
Thank you.
for the record.
That was my
Okay.
seconding with that.
All right, seconded by Mr. Reed, all in favor? Okay, you have your approval, sir, thank you very much. Move on to item number 2. 428 Margaretta Street. This is an application to convert the existing 2.5-story detached dwelling into a fourplex by constructing a front basement walkout, a new rear ground floor stairs. There will be a total of 5 dwelling units on this lot. 4 units within the main dwelling and 1 dwelling within the rear detached ancillary building, which is a garden suite that was previously approved. Committee has before it copy plan and survey, site plan, floor plans and elevations, 2 photographs of the subject property, previous decision numbers affecting adjacent and neighbored properties, presentation materials from the agent, a rental housing demolition and conversion declaration of use and screening form, and a tree inventory plan.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent online, no registered speakers for this item.
Good morning.
Morning, my name is Adrian Bika from OAB Architecture, 95 Campbell Avenue, Toronto, Ontario, M6P3T9.
Does anyone need a presentation? You want to go right to questions?
I have a question.
Okay. Well, sir, we don't need a presentation this morning, but we do have some questions. So, Dylan?
Yeah, sorry, for unit 2, the front unit, it doesn't look like there's any window in the bedroom. I was just wondering about that. Normally you would expect to have a window in the bedroom of a basement apartment.
If you scroll down, there are small higher windows that just don't meet the height of this particular floor plan, and so they're height windows that are past the field of view of the plan. It just didn't make it in the plan, but we'll deal with that at the building permit stage of the project.
But so they will be a window in the bedroom, it's just high up, is what you're saying?
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
I think we have to ask the question about the front landscaping. It's quite light. I take it it's an issue with respect to the tight property line and existing conditions?
That's right. The property line is right on the edge of the stairs there, and you can see that the stairs drawn with a thicker line were the existing stairs, those 3 near the top there. The new staircase, which is just immediately below that, are new stairs providing access to the new basement unit, and as a result, there's just no more space for landscaping. There's a little bit of existing soft landscaping near the top there. However, that only brings us to the 19% of the front yard. And we're not able to meet it while maintaining that existing driveway there for the parking. And
Okay.
so we took
Just looking at the photos you submitted, there's the rear yard looks like it's completely concrete. I assume you're lifting some of that to comply with the rear yard landscaping requirement?
That's right. As part of the garden suite proposal, there's been a new plan submitted to alter the rear yard and comply with all landscaping requirements at the rear.
Okay. Any other questions? Nellie?
Looking at the site plan, I can see that the existing driveway is concrete. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah. Will you be open to, probably, putting the permeable pavers instead of the concrete?
We proposed that to the zoning examiner, and they said that that's not permitted within the area. I mean, I'm okay with it. I'd have to chat with the owner just to get their okay as well, but I don't see any reason why not.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Any further questions? None? Let's go into committee. Anyone want to take this one?
And, typically to me, like, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just, just a bit of the, thoughts that, I find that the front variances are pretty, not minor, let's say, right? We have only 9% of the, of the landscaping in front, as opposed to 50% required. But the problem is, I can see that it's, it's right to the existing conditions. It's very tight at the front, and I think in case if we can remediate it somehow with, maybe improving the concrete driveway surface, that would be palatable, in my opinion. Just to hear other thoughts.
Okay, anyone else have any comments?
Yeah,
Peter?
I'd agree. I think the numbers do look really bad, but I think that there's basically no other alternative for this applicant, particularly in adding that new staircase to the basement, which is a positive thing. So I would support your idea.
Okay, Nellie, you want to move a motion?
I would move a motion to approve the application on condition that the existing driveway is made with the permeable pavers. And I don't think we have any other conditions, no.
I'll second that, Chair.
Okay, motion by Ms. Volport to approve with those conditions, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? Okay, you have your approval with that condition. Thank you. Okay, we move on to item number 3. All right. Item number 3, 37 Heathdale Road. This is an application to construct a new 3-story detached dwelling with an integral garage, a front covered porch with stairs, a rear basement walkout with terrace, a rear ground floor terrace, a rear second-story balcony, a rear third-story Juliet, and a rear in-ground swimming pool. There'll be a total of 2 residential dwelling units on this lot. Committee has before it a copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 2 previous decision numbers affecting the subject property. We have an arborist report and presentation materials from the agent, and correspondence and support from 58 Claxton.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent here in person, no registered speakers for this item.
Wow, a treat this morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, committee. Jonathan Benskowski, 301 Keewatin Avenue.
Okay, Jonathan, this one looks like it's got a bit of a checkered history.
Yes, correct, Mr. Chair.
So maybe you could walk us through. You did see a refusal, and maybe
Yes.
you can tell us what's changed since then.
Absolutely, Mr. Chair. So this is essentially the 3rd time this has come before the committee. The initial application, if we could go to page maybe 2 of my presentation material, I put in a chart of the original approval of June 2023 in comparison to where we are today. Within the middle of these 2 applications, there was a refusal back in the fall of 2024. So currently the house is, I would say, in the neighborhood of, 90% complete. The big change of what's occurred from then until now, meaning the original approval until today, 1 was the passing of the multiplex zoning bylaw. What that has done is that has eliminated the requirements of the FSI. So the original approval, if we could just go up 1 page, I believe it is, yes, right there's perfect. What that has done is that's eliminated the FSI requirement. The original approval from June of 2023 had a condition of approval that did not allow the 3rd floor to be habitable. So what we're essentially here for today is to ask for that 3rd floor to be habitable now that that FSI is gone. So this is now a multiplex with a live-in unit in the basement. What's important in terms of even eliminating the multiplex is even back in June 2023, there was not a request for a height increase or a number of stories associated with it. So even back in 2023, the dwelling was permitted to have that height as well as to have a 3rd story. What essentially happened is there was some back and forth with the neighbors over a 3rd floor balcony. So what we've done now, what we've done now is we've made that 3rd floor a Juliet balcony just for egress. Because of the height of the 3rd floor, it requires an extra exit for the OBC. So what we've done is we've actually put a third floor Juliet balcony that is not occupiable. In turn, what I also did is I went and visited the neighbors to the north and the south as well as the rear. I dropped off letters to them, and as you can see, one of the letters of support was from the neighbor to the rear, who was one of the largest voice of objection through the previous applications. So turning to the variances that are before you today, they essentially mimic the approval, and if we could then maybe go back to my chart just for 1 second, there are new variances that are being requested. Now, the new variances that are being requested previously that were never a part of any of the application, one is for a building length. That building length is only for the basement. It is not for the first floor. The first floor essentially matches the exact approval. Maybe I should have started, just to go back a second. The variances that are requested, even from the June 2023 approval, have to be applied for and requested again today because the house is under construction and the permit hasn't been closed. So what we see from this chart, okay, is basically what matches and what is new. So in terms of the front yard setback and the rear yard setback in yellow, that matches the previous approval. There is no change with what was approved in June 2023. The new variance that is requested again is for the building length, but again, as we go to another slide, I'll show you where that is appropriated in the house. A driveway width of going to 5.4 meters, which is actually less than what existed prior to the new house being there. Now, important with the 5.4 meter driveway width, there is no landscaping variance associated with it. The front yard landscaping meets the zoning bylaw. And then the next one are kind of too technical that, to be honest, I didn't even know the swing of a door could affect the width of a parking space. So both parking space variances relate only to the swinging of the door for the length and the depth for the side door to walk in. Now, if we stay here, what I've done here is I've actually hatched a portion of the site at the front where the new driveway is proposed. So what we see in sort of that green line, okay, was the old existing driveway, okay, superimposed above what we're proposing. So we've actually narrowed it, I would say marginally, maybe 10 or 12 centimeters type thing, but it is narrower than what existed prior to any approval. Now, if we stay here again, just to do the building length and the building depth, if we could just go down to the comparison of the floor plans, because I think I spent a lot of time on the history and not the variances of what are new. Yes, perfect. So if we look on the left, I've just put a side-by-side comparison together. That green portion on the left only exists in the basement for the building length. Above grade, it essentially mimics the exact approval. I've also included, just to kind of set some context, I've also put in some maps of other three-story dwellings, but again, I want to emphasize that three-story dwellings are permitted. This is not controlled by the zoning bylaw. Lastly, I'm kind of running out of time here. I've also put in some pictures of other wider curb cuts of what exists on this block of Heathdale. It kind of runs on an axis, so kind of northeast and southeast of the property type thing. If we keep going, this is just some context of the views from the rear yard of the house under construction. And then if we just go down one more, I think. Perfect. Just some driveways that are similar in width to
Okay.
what we, okay, thank you.
I think we get your point, Jonathan. Thank you. Panel, any questions? Dylan?
I see what you mean about the driveways, but given that you are making a new driveway and the actual garage isn't as wide, why do you still need to have such a wide driveway?
So there's two reasons for that. One is the unit in the basement is invariably going to eventually be used by, sorry, through you, Mr. Chair, Mr. D. Reed. The unit in the basement is ultimately going to be used by the parents of the owner who are elderly, and there's two reasons for it. One is there is an elevator in the dwelling itself, and they want to be able to park two cars next to each other, okay, within that area at the front. Additionally, they would like to be able to put in, which is not related to the width, but they'd also like to put in a snowmelt system again, so it can ease the access for the elderly family member living in the basement.
Okay, so basically, the idea is that likely in practice what will happen is the cars will be parked outside and there'll be space for two of them. And that's all on private land, so it's not something we need to worry about.
Correct. And again, just to emphasize, there is no landscaping variance for a reduction.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Thank you. Let's go into committee. Pete? Oh, sorry, Dylan, I didn't hear you.
Sorry, I just thought of it. I was gonna say, given the whole length thing about that being the basement, would you be okay if we tied it to elevations?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, Mr. DeReed, absolutely, it's built, essentially, it's, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
right.
there's no issue with
Just
that.
to make sure that
Yep.
there's not a.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're in committee. Peter, I'm just gonna ask you, you were on this one before, so I'm just gonna ask you for your observations.
Yeah, for sure. I remember this last one, the last time it was up, and the issue was FSI in the third floor, and I didn't have a concern with that at all because the massing was the same with or without.
What was the concern? It got refused, do you recall?
Yeah, neighbors to the rear were concerned of overlook.
Okay.
But it's a Juliet balcony there now, and I wasn't concerned last time because of the distance, the neighbors to the rear, a couple 100 feet away. So, and I think this is reasonable too. My only concern, like Dylan's, was the width of the driveway, but I think that the fact that it's a better situation than what's existing, it's being improved upon, I think that it's supportable.
Motion? Oh, Del, you have a question?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Okay, we have to come out of committee, and you have one more question.
I think you've mentioned it, but, after you changed the balcony to Juliet balcony, have you talked to the neighbors so that they express support to this? Because we don't.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. I actually failed to mention one thing. The previous, and this is directly tied to the question, so I'm not diverting off to something else. The previous application had a request, the refused application had a variance request for 2 balconies at the rear. So that also probably led to some of the concerns of the neighbors. That has actually been eliminated with what is before you today because it is a Juliet balcony, so there's no variance request for the 2 balconies. Which is sort of related to your question. Again, I dropped off letters to the northeast, southwest, and the 4 neighbors to the rear, indicating please discuss. The only person that called me was the one individual who wrote the letter of support. None of the other neighbors called me. And again, that might be indicative, again, of that variance being removed for the second balcony, no longer being requested.
Okay. All right, back in committee. Anyone want to make a motion? Peter?
Thanks, Chair. For the reasons I said before, I think that these variances are minor, and I think the impacts of them are minor as well. So I'll move approval without condition. And with the condition, sorry.
Tying it to plans?
Tying it to elevations you wanted, and site plan?
Site plan, probably.
Sure.
Yeah.
Elevations and site plan, please.
All right, motion by Mr. Reed to approve with those conditions, seconded by the other Mr. Reed. All in favor? You have your approval, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming down.
Thank you.
All right, item number 4 was the deferral request. Is the agent with us? No? Okay, we will continue to try and track the agent down. Move on to item number 5. Which is 59 Fairview Avenue. This is an application to alter the existing 2.5-story detached dwelling by constructing a new rear 2-story addition with a ground floor deck. The existing 1-story addition will be demolished. The committee has before it a copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 3 photographs of the subject property, covering letter from the agent. We have correspondence and support from 67 Fairview and 6 form letters in support from 53, 53 and a half, 55, 57, 61, and 63 Fairview.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent online. The homeowners are here in person, but we'll hear from the agent first.
All right. Good morning, sir. Mr. Henriquez?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Just speak a little louder, please, sir.
Okay.
And name and address.
Tony Henriquez, 543 Concord Avenue, Toronto, Ontario.
Okay, hang on a sec, sir. Panel, does anyone need a presentation, or you want to go to questions? No presentation? Sir, we don't need a presentation today. It seems like a fairly minor application. We may have some questions, but before we do that, is there anything you'd like to share with the panel?
No, I don't.
Okay, any questions? No one's got a question about the rear landscaping? Yeah, okay, you go ahead.
Okay, so I understand that, you have the variance regarding to soft landscaping, right? And I understand that triggered by the extension, right? You're covering more
Yes.
surface. So do you have maybe any ideas how you can remedy this situation?
Basically, I mean, we're doing the best we can. Actually, this variance is actually existing because our proposed addition is right where there's an existing patio. So actually, by replacing the patio with the addition, the landscape actually remains the same.
So you're proposing a new deck off the back. Is that going to be a wooden deck?
Yes,
Okay, so it will allow rain to penetrate through,
that's correct.
and there's soft landscaping underneath the deck?
Yes.
So that might help your concern, Nellie.
Yes, so, yeah, if, I understand that the rest of the rear yard is soft landscaping, right? It's a bit hard to see from the, plans, but if the deck is constructed from the permeable material, let's say so, I'm okay.
Yep, okay. Any other questions? None? All right, thank you. We'll take this into committee. Anyone want to comments or motion? Nellie?
Unless anybody, I think it's fairly minor. Again, my concern was with regards to soft landscaping, but if the deck is constructed from the wooden material that will allow water to penetrate, I would say we can put it as a condition maybe. Yeah, and then in this case, I would move the motion to approve it.
Okay, motion to approve. Did you want a condition that the deck be made out of wood?
Or a permeable material?
Yeah, okay.
Or that underneath the deck be permeable materials, right? Yeah.
I think the deck of wood and then
Okay. All right, motion by Ms. Volport with that condition. Have a seconder, Mr. Reed, all in favor? You have your approval with that condition. Thank you. You have a little friend there with you? Yes, I do. Okay. Thank you. Very well behaved. All right, thank you. Item number 6. 113 Chester Avenue. This is an application to construct a new 3-story detached dwelling with front and rear covered porches with stairs, a side bay window, and a rear 3rd-story terrace. Also to construct an in-ground swimming pool in the rear yard. Committee has before a copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 5 photographs of the subject property. We have email correspondence from Transportation Review. We have staff reports from Community Planning and Urban Forestry, and correspondence and concern from 111 Chester Avenue, and correspondence in opposition from 115 Chester Avenue.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have the agent online, and we have 1 registered speaker in interest.
Okay. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Sergio Galvez, 2030 Bristol Circle, Oakville, Ontario.
Okay, sir, we have someone who wishes to speak to this item, so we'll need a short presentation, please.
Thank you. So Chester Ave is characterized really by 1.5-story, 2-story, 3-story homes, many of which have sloping roofs. Some are original to when they were built, some are newer. Many of these homes, of course, feature a nice, lovely front porch across either the entire width of the house or just over the entry. What is also very distinctive about this neighborhood are the narrow spaces between the homes, much like we have. The zoning for the property really allowed us to do quite a bit, up to 33% lot coverage. We could have done 11-meter max building height. We were not limited to number of stories. A building depth of 17 meters. We're permitted a rear-facing deck and a gross residential floor area of 0.6. Our proposal is for a 3-story addition or home, which features a 8-foot wide honeycomb panel to the front. This feature will only be along the front end, and then it sets back about 8 feet to carry up to the 2nd and 3rd floor. The first floor, we're actually basically mimicking what's already there, building on the same foundation. We are proposing a small entry addition to the front, which is about 58 square feet. And the new second floor would be about 1,019 square feet, whereas before it was 748. And we are proposing a new third floor completely, which is 804 square feet. Really, some of the major variances we're seeking is for that front entry. Just for that first story front entry, we are seeking 2.34 meters, whereas 4.55 is allowed. Our floor space index is permitted is 0.6, but we are seeking 0.8. And the lot coverage, we're only seeking a 2% increase. I wanted to note that the landscape open space is actually higher than what we have written. We are about 48.3% of soft landscaping, as the pool is counted towards soft landscaping. In the variances, it was showing up as 36%, but that's because the pool was assumed at first to be hardscaping. That's basically a little bit of the summary.
Okay, thank you. Panel, any burning questions before we hear from the speaker? Nope.
Through you, Mr. Chair, then we'll call up the owner at 115 Chester Avenue.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Name and address, please, for the record.
Beth Beatty, 115 Chester.
Okay, ma'am, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you. I'm speaking on behalf of Clive Veroni as well, who's at 111 Chester. He's off in Italy, so he wasn't able to be here today, but he did submit a letter. And also note that there are 4 neighbors in support of my submissions, as you will have seen in the materials. The front yard setback, in terms of the request to reduce the front yard setback and construct what is really a very bulky entryway build-out, the minimum front yard setback is 4.55 meters. The proposed front yard setback is 2.34 meters. This is not a minor variance. It is clearly a significant variance. It is a reduction of nearly 50%. Granting this variance would result in a substantial visual impact with minimal internal benefit, as it only provides a small entryway. This variance would disrupt the current streetscape where all homes comply with setback regulations. When you look at the street, you look down south, and it's veranda after veranda after veranda, and it's the same when you look north, veranda, veranda, veranda. So the requested variance would clearly break the continuity of the street. Permitting this variance would open the floodgates for future developments on Chester Avenue, building these unnecessary and bulky entry build-outs, thereby altering the character of the street. So the bottom line is that the front yard setback is clearly a significant variance and is contrary to the streetscape character of Chester. In terms of the side yard setback, the minimum side yard setback where there are no windows or doors is 0.45. The new dwelling will be located 0.35 meters from the north side of the lot line. There is a window, I note, on the north side of 113 Chester, as well as on the south side of my house. So in fact, there are windows on both houses. This is a significant increase of 0.10. My side yard is already extremely narrow. You will have seen the pictures that I submitted. It's really very difficult for me to get a bin in and out. And when the snow hits, it's really, really difficult to get it in and out. And if you take away 10 centimeters, it's a substantial change. And in terms of, like that includes getting a lawnmower back and forth. It includes getting my front porch furniture back and forth. The narrowest space between the gate and the wall is approximately 86 centimeters. And I note that there's also my meter is nearby, and there's also a pipe nearby. You can see that on the left side. Yeah, there's that black pipe that goes all the way to the top. So it would be very difficult for me to maintain exterior walls, gutters, roofing. Even if the wall that's being built by the applicants has no windows or doors, reducing the side yard setback so significantly can compromise the fire safety by limiting access for firefighters and emergency personnel. It increases fire risk. the spread of it between closely spaced buildings, especially in these older buildings, which date back to the 1930s. And it also limits ventilation and smoke dispersion, which is critical even for non-opening walls. For instance, my dryer vent is on the side yard, along with, as I said, the hydrometer. The present setback has been in place for decades, and I just ask that it be continued with the 0.45. I also ask that the committee, if it approves the variance, in whole or in part, that there be a requirement, that there be a conditional building permit issued requiring the applicants to use best practices and standards when demolishing and removing asbestos, because my understanding is there is asbestos in the building. So those are my submissions. I'm happy to answer any questions.
You, ma'am. So, just so I'm clear, the current side yard setback for 113 is 0.45?
Yes, that's
and
my
you're
understanding.
you're hoping that you'd rather them maintain that.
Exactly.
Okay, and your setback looks like your property is actually set back more than that from the lot line on that side, right?
I think it's 0.45.
You're still 0.45? Okay.
I stand to be corrected.
Yeah,
if-
just looking at the surveys, and it
I'm
kind of
looking-
looks like 113 is currently closer to the lot line than you are.
I believe that the current setback is actually the same as what they're proposing.
0.35? No. No.
Because the current house, I think, also is 0.35.
No, it's definitely 0.45. I've measured it.
Have you? Okay.
No,
Because
it
I wouldn't
says
be
for-
concerned. If it's 0.45, I think that would be fine.
Okay, let's, I mean, they're seeking a variance. Number 7 is
yeah, but
a
it could be
variance.
based on the same.
Could be, so why don't we
We'll
ask
get that
the agent
clarified.
that question? Is there any other further questions of the speaker? Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, no other speakers?
So when will a decision be made? Are you making one now?
Yes,
or-
we'll be
Okay.
likely making a decision today.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
While I'm sitting here, or no, you're going away?
No,
and
no, no,
going-
you'll get to see us in action.
Okay, terrific.
If we could have the agent back, please.
I'm here.
Hi there. You've heard some concerns from the neighbor. I wonder if you could take a moment to address that, and specifically if you could address the issue of what the current side yard setback is.
Absolutely, no problem. So you're looking at the proposed site plan, but the existing house is sitting at the 0.35. We are simply building up from what's already there.
Okay.
We aren't actually trying to take back less. We're not taking 10 centimeters more. We are building straight up from what is there. So the previous site plan, actually, we're getting rid of a chimney, which to one point was, right there, it was 0.21, or about 8 inches from property line. We're removing that small part. We're going to be more consistent by carrying it about 0.37 across, which you can see the dimension at the right-hand side. Basically, that's what we want to do. We want to mimic that same amount, and that's what the proposal shows. For the first floor, it's the same thing, second floor, third floor up. We aren't going to build out any further than what's already there.
Okay, Dylan, did you have a question?
Oh, I think can you address the porch issue as well, which was the other concern of the neighbor? The front porch
Okay.
build out.
Yeah, absolutely. So this, yes, it is, it's about 58 square feet, about 8 foot wide by 7 foot deep. The idea was to have an entry point to the side, of course, insulated, an enclosed space. But the idea to try to disguise it, if you will, was the honeycomb panel that was going to be featured along the first story and then up the second and third story, which we believe is a very nice feature. That is within we're not going to build beyond the existing covered porch. There is going to be a flat roof. I understand that perhaps it does create part of a visual barrier to 115, but we thought it was small, it wasn't too deep. We were trying to make it pleasant enough that it wasn't an eyesore.
Okay. Any other questions? Nellie?
Okay, so with regards to the front porch, again, so you've extended the existing, building lines, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so is there a way to, to make it a bit more, palatable for the neighbors?
Yes, I mean, of course, there is a way. By not having it, if that's a possibility, technically, that would.
Sorry,
obviously
so
remove-
just to be clear, you're proposing or open to the elimination of the covered front porch?
Well, planning approved this. They were in agreement with the proposal as long as it was one story only. We want to have this front entry addition, but to answer the question, it was a theoretical, yes, we could change something, but right now we would love to go proceed with
Okay,
this.
so you would like to keep the front porch?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
And just to confirm, I just want to confirm absolutely for the neighbor's sake, you are in fact building on the existing foundation, is that correct?
Yes.
So you're basically not going beyond the existing foundation, the existing footprint of the house?
Correct. The wall for the enclosed entry space is about 8 to 10 inches from the actual concrete porch.
Right, okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Anything else? All right, thank you. All right, we're in committee. Do anyone have comments? Peter?
Thanks, Chair. I'm glad to hear, I understand the neighbor's concern about that narrow width, and I'm glad to hear that what's being proposed is maintaining the existing width and not shrinking it, because I think that really comes down to a question of usability of that space. In terms of the other variances, I think what's being proposed is pretty restrained, actually, and I get the concern about the front porch enclosure, but I think the fact that it's just part of the front porch lessens the impact of it, and it's within the existing mass of the porch area, so I'm fine with this application. I'll support it.
Yeah, I think, sorry, Dylan?
No, go ahead.
Nellie? Somebody?
I was just going to say, I mean, I understand that this is a new thing for the street, but we have seen a lot of enclosed front porches, and especially a partially enclosed front porch. That's pretty common. I don't really see that as being a major
I would agree. In fact,
issue.
it's flat actually also contributes to the reduction in massing.
Yeah.
Nellie?
Just with regards to the front porch, I think the planning condition kind of addresses this concern, mitigates. I was more concerned about the north side, setback. But if we can maybe put a condition that the northern wall doesn't extend beyond the existing.
Well, if we tie it to plans,
Okay,
then
yeah,
I think
yeah,
and that's what the planning staff are recommending.
Okay, yeah. So if it doesn't extend beyond that, it's like
Okay.
okay with that. But, yeah.
Anyone want to take a crack at a motion, Dylan?
Sure. I'll make a motion. Sorry. I'll make a motion to approve these variances with forestry condition number 3 and with a planning condition that ties it to site plans.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Reed to approve, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. You have your approval. Thank you, ma'am. I hope you're at least satisfied that there will be no change in the area between you and the other house.
Yeah, the motion didn't sound like that, but.
Yeah, it is. It's tying it to plans, so, okay? So you're good to go. Thank you, ma'am. All right, we move on to item number 7. Oh, so is item number 4, have we been able to reach the deferral yet? No luck? Okay. All right, move on to item number 7. 405 to 407 Clendenan Avenue. This is an application to convert the existing 2-story semi-detached dwellings into a day nursery. There'll be play areas in the rear yard. The existing ancillary building will be maintained and unaltered. Committee has before it copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 3 photographs of subject property, presentation materials from the agent, additional presentation materials from the agent received June the 12th. We have email correspondence from Transportation Review. We have 28 form letters in support from several owners and occupants of the neighborhood, no addresses provided. Correspondence in support from the members of the Parkdale High Park community, received June the 12th. We have correspondence and concern from 410 and 427 Clendenan, materials in concern from 410 and Clendenan. Correspondence in opposition from 423, 425, 417, 472, Clendenan, 425, 400, 427, Clendenan. From Robert Edmonds, no address provided. Correspondence in opposition also from 465, 420, Clendenan, and materials in opposition from 427, Clendenan.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have the agent online as well as 4 registered speakers, 2 of which are in opposition, 2 in support.
Great, thank you. All right, good morning, sir.
Hi, good morning. My name is Facundo Varela Kalsinski from Architectural Instinct, 1655 Dupont Street, Unit 110, Toronto, Ontario, M6P 3 is S now.
Thank you, sir. We have some folks who want to speak to this item, so we'll need a short 5-minute presentation, please.
For sure, for sure. So to clarify from the outset, the proposed use as a day nursery is permitted as of right under the current zoning bylaw. This application does not seek approval for the use. The only matter under consideration is a request for relief to provide 1 parking space, including the requirement to be accessible. We are aware of the concerns raised by the neighbors regarding traffic congestion and parking violations. However, we acknowledge these concerns, but we believe that adding a front yard parking space would only exacerbate the existing issue. It will require vehicles to back out directly onto the street, posing a safety risk for the pedestrian, particularly children, and it would also result in a loss of on-street parking and more congestion. We believe that the safest and more reasonable solution is to request a relief from the parking requirements altogether. This avoids worsening the current situation and aligns with the City of Toronto broader goals of reducing car dependency and promoting safer, more walkable neighborhoods. Finally, we think that childcare is in high demand in residential areas, and we view this small parking variance as a reasonable step towards providing a valuable service to the community. Just to add as well, there's a letter from Transportation Engineering Coordination that has no concerns with the application. That would be it.
Great, sir. Just for clarity purposes, so this is an existing semi-detached building, a residence, and it's adjacent to an existing daycare?
An adjacent school at the north. That's Clover School. That is a value part of the community since 2021.
All right, and so you're renovating this semi to be part of the larger operation?
Correct. It's an interior alteration. It's not connected to the other building, and it will work in itself, and that's it.
So it's independent of the existing Clover?
Correct. Yes, they just they are next to each other. They are going to be run by the same team, but they are not the same building. They are not joined.
Okay. We have some speakers panel. Anyone have a burning question? No? Okay. We can have our speakers.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we'll hear from the owner at 425 Clendenan Avenue.
Good morning, sir.
Hi there, Carlos Santillan, 425 Clendenan Avenue. So the reason I object to this is many reasons. The big picture concern is Toronto constantly complains about we're in a housing crisis. And what we're doing is now we're converting 2 houses to commercial use. So if we do that, then Toronto should stop ever complaining about housing crises and should stop complaining about the values of houses going up, because now we've taken 2 houses out of circulation to be purchased. This isn't the first house in our area that's happened to. 250 Annette, which is also now owned by Clover, was a house, but now it's converted to a daycare as well. We have also traffic and safety concerns. On Monday, the school was closed. there was no traffic or very little traffic. There was ample parking on our street. So that shows the impact that this school has currently. Now, adding a daycare with additional spaces is going to cause more problems. So, I've talked about parking pressure. Parking on our street is a bit of a challenge, especially when you have staff and parents occupying the streets. The school, it's funny because I heard we have all these people that are in favor of it. Most of the people that go to this daycare, most of the parents are not from the neighborhood. If they were, why are they driving? They are constantly, like there are so many cars that are illegally parked that are blocking our driveway on a consistent basis that it's obviously not for the neighborhood. Maybe there are a few, but it's not constant. There is always a lot of noise and disruptions on a daily basis, especially, during peak times in the morning and the afternoon. We've also lost, because of the school, we've also lost 3 parking spots that we used to be able to use, but now there's limits. So by increasing this to a daycare, how many more parking spots are going to be impacted for the residents, not for the people who use the daycare, but for the residents? Like, we seem to be bending over backwards for something that's not beneficial for the community, for our neighborhood. We seem to be bending over backwards for something that's beneficial for people outside of the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Panel, any questions of the speaker? None? Thank you, sir.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we'll hear from the owner at 410 Clendenan Avenue.
Good morning. Linda.
DeMarco. Am I unmuted?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Sorry. Linda DeMarco at 410, as well as Maria Ricola of 408, who's sitting in with me.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. You have 5 minutes.
Okay, I'll speak quickly and I'll try not to repeat what my previous speaker has just said. This is on behalf of Maria and myself and my husband and her family. And we object to the minor variance as the additional 44 children will only increase the current traffic safety, parking problems, emissions, pollution, verbal noise that is the result of the current drop off and pick up at 411. I'm going to list a few bullet points and then I will go into them after. First of all, serious traffic problems that I have and my neighbor, Maria, has witnessed and taken photographs of: parking on the sidewalk, obstructing mothers coming down the street with their baby carriages, parking, leaving the engine running, building up ice on the sidewalk in the winter, pollution. And this all happens directly underneath our bedroom windows. Next item is school capacities. How many more facilities do we really need? There are 6 schools in a 1.5 block almost area, 2 daycares, and now we're proposing another one. Definition of minor variance. It should not have an adverse impact to the surrounding area. And this really does impact on the quality of life of the residents, as mentioned by the previous speaker. Oversaturation of daycare facilities and schools. Again, I said that before. Current housing crisis. We are now taking away 2 houses that are perfectly useful for families. There are many, many, many traffic violations that we witness every single day. The school does not seem to manage the three drop-off pickup parking spots very well. Oftentimes there are cars parked there for indefinite amounts of time. There are many, many cars in the through traffic coming in, dropping kids off at the other schools, and actually people just going to work. Clendenan is an ambulance route. I mean, it used to be. I'm not sure if it still is. How is this effective when the whole block is blocked up with cars parked in the middle of the street? The handicapped spot for the neighbor next door to 411 is often blocked by parents dropping kids off. Unsafe K-turns are made, Again, as I said before, ice builds up on the sidewalk. And regarding the letters of support, I didn't see, maybe 90% of them did not put in any address. So that leads me to believe that they're not in the area, maybe not even Ward 4. School capacities, as I mentioned, how many more facilities do we need? The area is saturated with schools. Again, the definition of minor variance, it will have an adverse impact on the neighbors. 44 more parents slamming car doors, talking loudly, the other kids and other parents directly under people's windows.
This is a residential school.
Where will the additional staff also park for this 44 additional daycare? More traffic, it only is going to result in more traffic problems. And can this small residential area withstand more? My neighbor Maria and I would both like consideration to be given to the quality of life of the nearby residents to be able to live without the stress of additional traffic turmoil, noise, and pollution. Olivia Chow has committed to increasing residential housing, but you're taking away too. I would like the following questions answered. How many kids will be handled totally in the 3 campuses of the Clover School? And how will the current traffic problem and future traffic problems with the increase in spaces, how will these problems be resolved? Turning Clendenan into a one-way street is not the answer. And I don't understand how the traffic department didn't see a problem. They obviously were not here during pickup and drop-offs every morning, Monday through Friday. And again, parking is at an extreme minimum for the residents that don't have garages or driveways. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. It isn't necessarily specific to your comments, but this is for everyone's edification. The variances before us are simply a request to seek relief from the requirement for one on-site parking spot. The variances before us, while I appreciate the residents' frustration, we've read all the materials, the variances before us are unrelated to some of the traffic concerns that many of you have read. So what the panel is considering is whether relief from the one parking spot on site is minor or not. So I'll just state that for the record, and we'll continue on with our speakers.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we'll hear from the owner at 411 Clendenan Avenue.
Good morning. I want to move over to that one. That's got the mic there. Sure. And is it the green light on?
Green light. It is somewhat. There we go. Now it is.
There you go. All right, sir. Name and address, please.
Name Greg Harmondayan, 8 Misty Crescent, and I represent the ownership of all the properties in and around related to the 411 Clendenan School.
All right, sir. You have 5 minutes.
Okay, very briefly. This has been a school long before Clover even came around, for decades and decades. When we took possession of it, we did do quite a bit of renovations and so on and so forth to bring it to where it is today. We subsequently purchased properties in and around with the expectation that the school demand would increase. We have done so, and we have come to committee of adjustment on other items unrelated to these specific properties, but to the neighborhood. In short, as you mentioned, Chair, it is about variance of one parking spot. The rest of the points I won't really speak to, aside from the school has provided quite a bit of service and has provided a lot of positive contributions to the area. Their student numbers are less than what the previous school used to be for decades. So I don't see any points really to talk about that from my perspective. But ultimately, with respect to the existing 405, 407 and the parking that's being requested to reduce it by one, we've mitigated a lot of it from an ownership perspective with the expectation that the school might need parking, and we do have sufficient parking for their staff currently today over at 411 Clendenan, where there is a lane that is owned by 411 Clendenan that is adjacent to the back of that property and comes out to the street at Annette. So there's plenty of parking there for their staff, which practically speaking, they don't even use substantially. They have 1 or 2 cars at most. And I think that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you.
Dylan?
So first of all, thank you very much for coming. Appreciate that. It's great to have you in person, and it's great to have someone from the ownership there. Just to summarize, I think what you were just saying, you're saying that you would have adequate parking off the street for any additional staff that would be needed for the thing, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So that's really helpful. I think that, I take the chair's notes. This is, in fact, the variance is in some ways transportation related, and I think that clearly the residents have some serious concerns about transportation on the thing. So do you know how many of your students walk to school or take public transportation and aren't driven to school?
Well, just to clarify, I represent the ownership of the property, not the tenancy. The tenants are the Clover School, which I believe they are online and they have a speaking position.
Okay, so you're just the owner of the property?
Of the properties that we
school.
work, we work, yeah, correct. We work extensively with them, so how those numbers they would have, but yes,
Right.
they do. There's quite a number of I would say the majority of the customers are actually local to the area. The fact that they drive is because they're going to probably go to work after.
Right.
And I've personally seen certain, there are street signs, very clear and very, very much adhered to by the patrons of the school. It's, in fact, from my observations, when other residents don't particularly pay attention to the street signs and perhaps park longer than they need to within that time period of the drop-off, where confusion can start dropping in, specifically to your point about traffic. When we don't adhere to the signage, we have issues. But if you adhere to the sign as proposed and administered by the City of Toronto, you're pretty much in line with what needs to be done.
Right. I'm going to put this to the school as well, but if we were to put a condition that as part of the approval, transportation demand management plan be developed, would you be okay with that?
As the landlord, I would have no objections to that. I would rely on the expertise of my architects, the Facundo, who's online right now, to determine whether or not. But historically, we've done, and on other properties, I don't personally have an objection to that. No.
Okay, great. Thank you.
We can put that to the agent as well, Dylan.
Yes.
All right, any further questions? Thank you, sir. Do we have speakers?
Through Mr. Chair, we'll hear from our next speaker. Isabel?
Hi there. Can you hear me? Hi.
Yes, we can. If you could just give us your name and address for the record, please.
Isabel Kanicki, 98 MacDonnell Avenue, Toronto, M6R2A2. I'm the owner of the Clover School at 411 Clendenan.
All right.
Avenue.
Well, hopefully you've been listening to
I have,
Dylan's
yes.
questions, so maybe you could help by trying to answer those as well.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to say that we do have a transportation plan in place, and when it works beautifully. Our biggest frustration, frankly, has been that the designated school drop-off zone signs that are located right in front of our school. We have a staggered drop-off time where small groups of parents have a designated drop-off time, and what is intended to happen is they are to pull up in front of the school. We have a kiss and ride program where we help them take their kids out of the car, bring them in, and the parents drive off, and then the next crew come in. And when it works beautifully. The frustration for us is that when neighbors on Clendenan, we see them do this, purposely jump in to take those spots right at our drop-off time. So that's been very frustrating for us, and we're having trouble getting the city to enforce it as a school drop-off zone. So that is our pickup and drop-off plan. That building has been operating as a school for well over 40 years. I think it's almost close to 50 years, since the late 80s, mid to late 80s. It used to house 213 children. We currently house 145. With the additional proposed 44 spots, that would still be less than the number of children that have attended there for half a century. And I would say that probably, and I can get you these numbers if I I just don't have them in front of me, but well over 90% of our families live in the neighborhood. They drop off because they've got infants, multiple children, and the majority of our families require us for childcare. There is a demand for childcare. It is a childcare desert, actually. Our neighborhood has more children under the age of 6 than any neighborhood in North America. And as evidenced by our years-long wait lists, there is a demand, and we are providing a service that the community desperately needs. The building next door, 405 and 407, was purchased by our real estate partner, Greg Clendenan, who just spoke, for the purpose of us expanding into the space and using our conjoined backyards as a play area. Yeah, I mean, the community has spoken. They want these spots. Getting letters of support is not a problem, and our families are community members. We're solving a problem for the neighborhood and not creating one. The only thing that we'd like to ask for, and I know that's not why we're here today, is a little more cooperation from the city to enforce our school drop-off zone.
Thank you, ma'am. So the drop-off zone is clearly signed?
Clearly signed.
Okay. Dylan?
Yeah, so just to confirm, you said that you actually have staff coming out in the morning to help parents with the drop-off and stuff like that?
Yep, we have designated staff members wearing safety vests who come out and help get kids out of cars and bring them in. And we also have a large number of families that walk. We encourage parents to walk their kids to school when possible. And we're also looking into getting a school bus, but what we need to do is have a safe place to have that school bus pull up, which is our school drop-off zone. Unfortunately, it's often occupied by neighbors.
So to ask the same question, would you be okay if we put, I know that you say that you have plans and obviously you're doing a lot, but I think it would probably help the community if you had a formal transportation demand management plan that people could refer to, and perhaps that you work with a consultant to see if there's any other ideas. Would you be okay if we included that as a condition of the approval?
I mean, I would prefer that you just took our current plan as the plan. We're happy to submit it to you. It's a good plan. When it works, it works. And unfortunately, the only help that we would need to ensure that it works is help from the city to ensure that nobody parks in those spots, so that our parents can pull up and safely drop off their children.
Is your plan something that people can refer to, or is it just kind of an informal internal plan?
I'm going to actually refer to our school principal, Amy Gedavekis, who's on this call. She can speak to that point.
Okay, let's, if we can unmute Amy. Amy, are you there?
Hi, I am, yes.
If we could get your full name and address for the record, please.
Yeah, my name is Amy Gedavakis, and I live at 273 Mariah Street, M6B1W6.
Okay, you've heard Dylan's question. Maybe also the question is like, how up to date is your transportation demand management study?
Yeah, I think what Isabel's trying to say about the transportation plan is that our concern, should we move forward, is that we have been in contact with Lord Perk's office, with several of our our city folks, trying to get them to actually help us with our transportation plan, so that we can ensure that this is safe, and we're getting a lot of, the meeting is being set, and things aren't moving forward in the way the neighbors absolutely feel upset and concerned about the parking, and we absolutely understand. I am actually the person who is boots on the ground every single morning out front of 411 Clendenan, so I'm in the soup of it, and I do understand what happens when those parking spots are not left open. When they are left open, our Kiss and Ride program works beautifully, and we're able to get all the kids in. And we do have, I would say, it's probably more like 70% of our families are like biking, they're walking, they're scooting, they're coming in because they live very, very close. I think it's important to note that daycare spots are a need in the whole city, and just saying that one neighborhood, whether or not the folks that we're talking to on the call have very young children and it doesn't suit them right now, doesn't really speak to that community mindedness about those folks who do have young families, and we do want to get those parents back to work.
All right,
and so
Amy, I'm just gonna cut you off there.
Yeah, I wanted to just ask the question, is the transportation plan like a public formal document, or is it just a kind of internal thing?
So for now, it's an internal document. We're happy to share with any interested parties or neighbors that would want to share that.
Okay, yeah, I think if you don't mind, given the concerns of the neighbors, that I will going to propose a condition that you publish a formal transportation demand management plan and hopefully consult with neighbors about it. If you already have it, then that shouldn't be a big burden for you to implement.
Okay. All right. Is there any additional speakers? We're done with speakers?
3, Mr. Chair. We're done with our speakers, so we'll go back to the agent.
Great, thank you.
Hello?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Are you there? Is he there?
So here, yes.
Oh, there you go. I'm not sure if there's anything further you have to add. I think a lot of the questions that the panel have been answered, unless there's a question for the agent. I think we're okay, sir. Unless there's anything further you'd like to add before we take it into committee for a decision?
No, to be honest.
All right. Thank you.
One quick thing. So I'm sorry, but given the obvious confusion of some of the neighbors about as of right usage, I was just wondering if very briefly the agent could just explain why this is an as of right use within the zoning.
Okay.
Yes, it's allowed by zoning. It's one of the allowed use for the lot. So as I mentioned, it's only one parking. And the funny thing is, the parking spot is not required because of the use. It's required because it used to be a house that used to be a parking at the back. A while back, there was access to that back of the property. So that's why we have one parking spot requirement.
Okay. Thank you. All right, let's take this into committee. Who wants to start us off? Dylan?
No, Nelly.
Oh, Nelly, sorry.
Understanding the concerns of the neighbors, I just want to clarify that, and I'm a resident of that neighborhood. I know that the demand for childcare spaces is acute. It's ongoing, and I think as somebody mentioned, we have more kids per capita than any neighborhood in Ontario, if not in Canada.
North America, I think she said.
Yeah, but I cannot but in Ontario. So I know that wait lists are year long, and another a daycare in this area is a much welcome addition. And I think in addition, the synergy between the school and actually it's the synergy would benefit both establishments. So I think it's a very positive development. I understand the concerns of the neighbors, and I think something that dealing with the condition of publishing the official document would be a good condition. I would with that condition I would support that.
Okay, Dylan.
Yeah, I think it's important. I did actually look up the zoning because I wanted to be sure. And yes, indeed, this is absolutely an allowed zoning as long as both of the detached houses are being used as a daycare, which is the case in this case. So just to explain to all the neighbors, they are absolutely allowed to put a daycare here. They could put a daycare there even if we didn't approve these variances. They just have to put a parking pad in front or something. And as Nelly pointed out, this is certainly a valuable service, and providing a daycare is as valuable as providing housing, I would say. The actual variances we're seeing in front of us are indeed minor, and in fact, I think desirable. We don't want to have a parking pad on the street, and the owner has assured us that in fact there is staff parking available elsewhere, which I think is really important. So to me, it's clear that these are minor variances and are in fact desirable. I think that the neighbors' traffic concerns are very valid. It's clear that this is a problem, so that's why I'm going to move that we include a condition that the school develop and publish a transportation demand management plan, ideally in consultation with the neighbors, so that there's something formal that people can refer to as how the school plans to manage the demand. I want to point out that the schools point out that there's a lot of schools in the area, but clearly this specific street does have traffic concerns, and 44 additional drop-offs, well, probably won't be 44, but could add to the difficulties on this specific street. So I think it's important for that traffic demand management to be addressed and to work with the neighbors to make sure that the plan is in place and minimizes disruption.
Okay, motion by Mr. Reid.
Sorry, through you, Mr. Chair. I do have some issues with that condition.
Oh, the condition. I wondered if you
So,
were gonna.
If there is a transportation management plan, it should be going through the City of Toronto and to the satisfaction of transportation services, right? Because my concern is that, they're gonna be coordinating with the residents, but it may not be something that the city would agree or support.
Right.
So I think what has to happen is the condition can be that a transportation management plan is submitted to the City of Toronto, but to the satisfaction of transportation
that's great.
services.
I understand
And
they're
then-
talking to them anyway.
Yeah,
Yes,
so that's
and then
good.
once the city, signs off and says, yes, this meets our specs, then that can be shown to the residents.
It sounds like they already have one, so one would assume that they'd already done that at some point.
I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but if you're gonna impose a condition, it
That's-
has to be to
that's-
the satisfaction of
Okay.
transportation
Okay.
services
That seems like
reviewing
a-
it and signing off.
absolutely, it sounds
And then for the record, then they can have
Yeah.
consultation with the residents.
That seems
Great.
excellent to me, yes.
Good,
absolutely.
good suggestion. Thanks, Sabrina. Dylan, you okay with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's
Okay.
good. Yeah, and also I think that they do have a plan and they are talking to transportation anyway, so I don't think that should be a huge burden.
Yeah, maybe that will help them get more stringent enforcement, actually.
Exactly.
All right, motion by Mr. Reid to approve with that condition. Sabrina, you got that condition? Okay, have a seconder. Ms. Volpert, all in favor? You have your approval with that condition. Thank you very much. I take it we don't have number 4 yet? Nope. Okay.
Yes, we do.
Oh, we do? Oh, okay, good. So we will briefly return to item number 4. 78A Crescent Road. I've already read this into the record, so do we have the agent?
Hello?
Hello. Name and address,
Hello?
please, sir.
Well, it's Mr. Cram here at 170 Esna Park. I'm an agent for the owner. Sorry for the delay in getting back to you.
Okay, hang on a sec. Did we have a speaker on this one?
Through you,
Okay,
Mr. Chair, yes, we do have one speaker.
sir, you're seeking a deferral. If you could let us know what the reason for that deferral is?
Yes, we're in discussions with the neighbors who have some concerns about the project. So we're in the middle of the discussions and ironing out an agreeable resolution, hopefully.
Okay. All right, and if we have, is the neighbor online?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. Sorry, we do have 2 speakers, so we'll unmute Sarah Ferris first.
Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
We can. Name and address
Great.
for the record, please, ma'am.
Pardon me?
Your name and address for the record, please, ma'am.
My name's Sarah Ferris, and I live at 78 Crescent Road, Unit 2. And I'll just be brief.
So, ma'am, we're not going to deal with the merits today. All
Right.
I'm really going to ask you for is we have a request for deferral and whether you
Yes.
agree to the deferral or not.
Yes, and just to be clear, there are 4 existing residents on this property, not 3 in the application. And yes, we agree, the board does agree to the deferral.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thanks for waiting.
Through you, Mr.
Thank
Chair.
you.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we'll unmute Barbara Highland.
Barbara.
I don't need to speak because Sarah's spoken for us.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. All right, panel, we're back in committee. Deferral request, Peter?
Thanks, Chair. I move that we defer this application to allow the applicant time to work with the neighbors and address their concerns.
Okay, motion by Mr. Reed to defer, seconded by Ms. Volpert. All in favor? You have your deferral, thank you. All right, we resume with our agenda. We are on item number 8, 936 Eastern Avenue. This is an application to permit recreation and use within the existing 2-story non-residential dwelling. Committee has before a copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, covering letter from the agent, decision number, a previous decision number affecting the subject property, and a cover letter from the owner of the proposed gym. We have email correspondence from TRCA and a staff report from TRCA.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent online, no registered speakers for this item.
All right, good morning.
Good morning, can you hear me?
Ken, we sure can. Name and address, please.
Samuel Wilson from SR Architecture, 659 Deer Valley Road in Ancaster.
Great, thank you, sir. Hang on a sec, sir. Dan, I don't think we need a presentation on this one. It's very straightforward. Sir, we don't need a presentation today. Before we take it into committee, is there anything you'd like to share with the panel?
Not specifically, no.
Okay. All right. We're in committee. Dylan?
I'm happy to move a motion on this one. It's just a different non-conforming use. It's completely straightforward and certainly a useful thing for the community. So I move we approve these variants without any conditions.
Okay, motion by Mr. Reed to approve, no conditions, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? You have your approval. Thank you, sir.
Can we do a short break before the next one?
Yeah, sure, it's a good idea. Can we, Sabrina, want 5 or 10? 5-minute break?
Sure. Please turn off your videos, microphones. We'll mute the room.
All right, we resume with item number 9, 4 Walmsley Boulevard. This is an application to alter the existing rear one-story ancillary building by constructing a complete second-story addition and a two-story side east addition. This ancillary building will contain 1 parking space on the ground level and 1 garden suite on the second level. There'll be 2 bicycle parking spaces in the rear yard. Committee has before it copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 2 photographs of trees on the subject property, supporting materials from the agent, a revised site plan, floor plans, and elevations received June the 13th, covering letter from the agent received June the 13th, owner email correspondence to the owner's occupants of 11 Dugan Avenue, owner email correspondence to owner's occupants of 15A Dugan Avenue. We have staff report from Urban Forestry. We have correspondence and support from 6 and 11 Walmsley Boulevard, correspondence in concern from 9 Dugan Avenue. We have correspondence in opposition from 11 Dugan Avenue and 2 Walmsley Boulevard, correspondence in opposition from 15A Dugan Avenue. And correspondence in opposition from 100 Lawton Boulevard.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent here in person, and we also have 3 registered speakers.
Great, thank you. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and
Is
members
your
of the...
mic on?
It is.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Now I can, yep,
Okay.
great.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Maya Janikowski of Chase Architecture at 2973 Lakeshore Boulevard West, and I am here on behalf of the owners of 4 Walmsley Boulevard, Mr. and Mrs. Kassam. We are here to request relief for 4 variances associated with the proposal to build a second-story addition on top of an existing garage, garden suite, in the rear of the property. Would you like me to go through the
Yes,
4 variances, please? Okay. So the 4 variances are, 2 of them are related to existing conditions. The first variance is a soft landscaping variance, and on record stands at 9% of the rear yard to be soft landscaping. The majority of the reasoning for this is due to the fact that we cannot calculate the existing garden suite and garage footprint, or excluded from the calculation. It's calculated as hard landscaping. We did not calculate the underside of the deck, which technically is permeable and has soil underneath it. And as you can see, a significant amount of the rear is also permeable pavers, and the asphalt stops at the garage there. So if we really looked into it and said the soft landscaping would be closer to 23%, however, our zoning examiner did not agree with those calculations, and so it was submitted as 9% of the rear yard landscaping. The second variance that we are requesting is the minimum rear yard setback, and again, that stands at 0 meters because it's due to the existing footprint of the garage, and we are building directly on top of it. Our proposal is to keep the north and the east and west, all the existing conditions of the garage, and build on top of it. The third condition is the side yard setback from the east. This is due to us adding the 2-story entrance to the garden suite on the east side. We were very cautious about the way that we designed it, and the width is as minimum as possible just to allow the stairs to the second floor and an entrance closet in plan. I believe it's only 13.5 meters squared, and try to keep it as minimal as possible just to gain entrance to the second floor garden suite. And the fourth variance is also due to an existing condition, and it has to do with the west setback, and it's at 0.44 meters, again, due to the existing footprint of the garage.
Okay, ma'am. I'm just gonna push back a little bit. Just looking at your
Yeah.
photos, you're an architect, so you know what permeable pavers are. Looking at your photos, those don't look like permeable pavers. Those are just.
Those are paving stone, those are
paving stones.
pavers, yes.
So those are,
Sorry,
that's
I
different than
misspoke,
permeable.
But not asphalt, Mr. Chairman, I apologize, yes.
No.
So it's not asphalt,
But
they're pavers.
You will appreciate that regular interlocking pavers
Correct.
are not permeable.
Correct, absolutely, but that was not incled in the calculation.
No, I
at
understand that. I just want,
23%, yes.
because you did say they're permeable pavers and they're
I
not.
misspoke, my
Okay.
apologies, thank you.
All right, we have, Dylan?
Just a question of detail. There was correspondence referring to increasing the soft landscaping to 12%.
Correct.
So
And-
is that something that we should change?
No, again, this was a back and forth with our zoning examiner. Our calculations excluded the footprint of the garden suite from the calculation, so it would decrease the actual percentage of the rear yard if we excluded it. That would increase our percentage of soft landscaping to 12%. And in going back and forth and rereading the zoning definition, the examiner pushed back and said that, unfortunately, we can't exclude the footprint of
Got it. Okay.
so it's included and therefore drops our percentage down to 9%.
Just another technical question.
Yeah.
You said that the east setback reduction is just for the stairs. But when we look at the plans, also I believe part of the kitchen is using that extra space. Is that correct?
On the second floor?
On the second floor.
On the second floor, it is, because it's directly above the closet space below, let's just say.
Is there a reason why the stairs couldn't be right against the thing? Is there like...
It's just with the layout of the space, providing them with a usable kitchen, with a 3-piece bathroom, with some sort of living space, and also a separate bedroom.
You're asking for the variance because you've put the stairs not directly against the garage, but
Correct.
like a little bit set aside. Is there a practical reason why they have to be there? Or is it just because you need space for the kitchen?
Again, it's due to being able to have some sort of entrance closet and the layout of the space as it stands to get everything that the ownership would like in terms of scope and program.
Right.
Also,
So it's for the stairs and a little bit of extra space
for the entrance closet on the bottom and the kitchen location, but also if we had moved the stairs down further or closer, it would technically move the stair back, and we tried to set back the addition as far from the rear as possible.
So the practical reason is that you have it there because if you put it closer, you'd have to stretch it all the way to the back.
Correct, as well,
Okay.
yes. And it
That's what
also
I was
fit the
asking.
little kitchen in there really nicely and the way it hugs it, so it
But
worked
I
in
want to
terms of
understand
layout.
the technical things of why that
Yes,
has to be there.
yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
let's go to our first speaker.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we'll hear from the owner at 11 Duncan Avenue.
Hello. Mr. Ratti?
Good morning, everyone.
Oh, sorry, you're here. I'm sorry. I was thinking you were online. I apologize. How you doing? Name and address, please.
Yes, of course. Good morning. My name is Scott Ratti, and I live at 11 Duggan Avenue, Toronto.
Is it your wife is registered to speak as well?
Yes, and so my wife was here. Regrettably, she had to go to a meeting, so I represent her. She was
Okay,
actually...
so you're
she was-
tag teaming.
We are tag teaming.
Okay.
I do recognize the 5 minute, and
Yep, okay.
so I was just going to speak on...
You have
on
5 minutes, sir.
both our behalves. Thank you very much. Hello, as stated, my name is Scott Ratti, and I live at 11 Duggan with my wife and my daughter since 2009. I do appreciate the opportunity to express our concerns about the proposed 2-story development at 4 Walmsley, and for your serious consideration in this matter, as the proposal would have a significant and negative impact on our family. I'm going to provide a description of our home and our backyard as it sets the context for our concerns regarding the proposal, and then I will explain why the proposal would be so harmful to us. Before I do that, however, it's important that the committee be aware that one of the letters submitted in support of the application, namely from the owners of 11 Walmsley, is irrelevant to the proposal and therefore should be disregarded by the committee. This is because 11 Walmsley is across the street from 4 Walmsley on the south side of the road and to the west, which means it has no connection to the backyard area where the 2-story garden suite is being proposed. And simply put, 11 is not impacted in any way by the proposal. In contrast, the homes at 11, 9, 15 Duggan Avenue, 100 Lawton, and 2 Walmsley are significantly impacted by the proposal and all strongly object to it. Now I'll describe the property and our concerns. So our property is actually quite small. We have limited front yard space and relatively small backyard. However, our backyard backs directly into the backyards of the homes on Walmsley and Lawton. As such, our backyard is only about 25 feet deep, but we currently enjoy a view that spans over 75 feet from our south-facing windows to the north-facing windows at number 4 Walmsley. The view is unobstructed above the fence line, and we only see green space and sky from our backyard, our kitchen, and our upper floors. As a result, we have maximized the windows on the south side of our home, and we don't even have window coverings in some of them so that we can fully enjoy the view. This view is critical to our enjoyment of our home. It gives us a sense of peace, well-being, and space, which we can't get anywhere else in our home. The proposed 2-story building would severely compromise our view and how we enjoy a significant portion of our home in our backyard. We'd now be looking directly to a 20-foot brick wall instead of the open space and greenery and sky. And not only this would negatively impact our personal enjoyment of our home, but may also impact its value. Further, the current physical distance between our home and 4 Walmsley allows us to fully enjoy the natural light coming into our home from the south without compromising our privacy. This distance is particularly important to protecting our privacy during the winter months when there are no leaves on the trees and there's only open space between us and 4 Walmsley above the fence line. Any second floor entrances, windows, or decks on the proposed 2-story building would impair our privacy. People looking north from the second-story proposed building would be able to see directly into our kitchen, our main floors, and the rest of the back of our house. In summary, we have supported many renovations and proposals over the year in our area, but never have we seen a proposal so egregiously dismiss the rights of the adjacent neighbors, including the right to enjoy their own homes and backyards and their right to privacy. I don't believe any homeowner should have the right to do that above and beyond their neighbors. Given how the properties are zoned in the Duggan, Walmsley, and Lawton area, allowing a 2-story garden suite at 4 Walmsley would be completely favoring one homeowner over all of the others, and whose properties are adjacent and who share a common view from their backyards, my apologies. And I believe it would be setting a dangerous precedent. We're asking the committee to come to the only decision that's reasonable and fair for all of those who would be most directly impacted by this proposal and refuse the application. To come to another decision would cause direct and significant harm to the owners at 9, 11, 15 Avenue, Duggan Avenue, 100 Lawton, and 2 Walmsley. I do appreciate your consideration in this matter.
Thank you, sir. So looking at the site, so you're 11, but there is a property on Lawton that actually is in between you and this property, right?
There's a
someone's backyard.
The backyard.
The
yes.
backyard is in. So
that's right, Mr.
Your lot
Chairperson.
line. There's a backyard from. It looks like 100 Lawton, and then this proposal.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So, so Mr. Chairperson, yes, we have an unobstructed view above the fence line, as I said. That's
Okay.
correct. Yep.
All right, panel, any questions? Yes, Nellie.
So did you have a chance to talk to the owners and did they consult with you?
No, I'm afraid not. No, they did not consult with us, and no, I have not spoken to them.
Okay. All right, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right, our next speaker.
Through you, Mr. Chair, will unmute the owner at 2 Walmsley Boulevard.
Well, hi there. Hi there. My name is Ellie Morch. I live at 2 Walmsley Boulevard, Toronto, Ontario, M4V1X6. I'm speaking on behalf of myself and my husband as both owners of our home. We live to the immediate east of the property 4 Walmsley Boulevard, and the variance request in number 2 to have the distance from the property line reduced to, number 3 reduced to 1.01 meters. places the walkway, 1 meter from our current property line, which means the building as well is very close to our backyard. And the privacy involved there is passageway of people, also view from above, which is close to our yard. Obviously, we do have privacy concerns, as do the other neighbor who spoke today. But most importantly, this is a structure that's a residential building 1 meter from our backyard, and none of our other properties have that same impact in terms of privacy. And that's our main concern. The other is the variance number 2 regarding the tree that's, and I understand there may be a tree protection plan, but it does grow right over the garage and provide, a lovely green canopy for our neighborhood, which gives us, beautiful view, and we, really value and cherish our backyard. We spend a lot of time there. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, ma'am. Panel, any questions, the speaker? None? Thank you very much.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have one other speaker.
Okay. This is Kassam?
It's Terry Mills here speaking.
Mr. Mills, how are you doing? Name and address for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Terry Mills, and I'm a planner, urban planner. And my address is 101 Roehampton Avenue in Toronto.
All right, sir, you have 5 minutes.
Okay, now I've been retained by my client who lives immediately behind at 15A Duggan Avenue. And I was hoping he was going to speak today, but unfortunately he's had a family matter, and so I'm speaking. I thought he was very good in talking about adverse impacts on them particularly. But anyway, I have been on this file and written the letter that you've received, and in my opinion, it doesn't pass the 4 tests. And I describe that on page 1 of my letter, and on page 2 I go through and talk about each one in detail. The first variance is the one for the soft landscaping deficiency on the subject property. And I must say that having 9% soft landscaping where 50% is required is a quite drastic difference. And already I heard earlier today there was another matter of when there was an application to do alteration to a house, they were looking at could the rear concrete work be replaced with soft landscaping. So I'm glad that the committee is aware of that situation. Basically, by my calculation going through, you could actually provide, instead of 9%, you could provide 35% soft landscaping if one were to get rid of the ability to do a 3-point turn for cars to turn around the backyard so they drive out forwards. In these kinds of neighborhoods, it's typical that when you have a garage in the rear, the cars drive up the driveway and then they back out the driveway. But in this case, we're giving up a lot of soft landscaping, and as we know, one of the objectives of the city is to maintain, preserve, and improve the tree canopy in the city, and I think that would be a significant improvement if that were to happen. Moving on to the second variance, and this deals with the rear yard setback. Now, my client lives immediately to the north, and they have quite a remarkable elm tree of substantial size. The surveyor says it's 1 meter caliper. It's actually a bit of a clustered trunk, so it might be, if you took one part of it, be more likely to be 0.5 of a meter. But anyway, it's a substantial tree, and it actually happens to be really glued to the brick wall. So when you're there, the first 4 or 5 feet of the trunk is actually flattened out against the brick of the garage. And I'm not sure actually where the line is exactly for that garage, but there is a good chance that this tree could be a boundary tree. And unfortunately, my landscape consultant that I use is not in the country. We only get so much time of notification of an application. but they would be, I believe, back in time to at least inform the forestry department if there were a boundary tree concern. But the other thing is, in building straight on top of the existing wall, straight on the property line, it does present a pretty imposing imposition on my client's property, which has a very small little courtyard on their side. And it seems to me that it would be better if, rather than trying to build and stitch the brick to match going straight up on top of the wall that's there now, that they did observe with the new construction of the second floor the setback distance. And I would think that's what the plans examiner believes as well in identifying this as a variance. And at the very bottom of my letter on page 4, I do talk about the Ontario regulation, which is just passed 462/24, which says that subject to any maximum height or minimum setback requirements in a bylaw, that where there's an angular plane, that may be penetrated. So that angular plane that would have been there earlier would actually start at 1.5 meters back from the property line and at 4 meters above the ground. And that would be, in my mind, the point at which this addition should go straight up. And also looking at the depth of the backyard, in fact, between the existing accessory building and the main building today, there's 15 meters, then there's ample room to slide this thing over. I think I've reached my limit of time.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mills.
Thank you.
Any questions? Nope. All right, we'll have the agent come back. I wonder if you could take some time to respond to what you've heard?
Sure, absolutely. This on? So in regards to the concerns of the rear yard imposing wall, you know, we absolutely understand all the neighbors' concerns, but to be, you know, humble and honest, we did our absolute best to consider all of the conditions in terms of putting in density as the city is requesting and looking for in terms of garden suites and laneway suites. We're trying to maintain the overall look and architectural elements of the neighborhood and maintaining that garage. And we're not asking for any variances due to height, and we're not proposing any windows for that rear elevation. We're not proposing any decks that would overlook. We specifically, you know, place the windows set back and in places where we would not have issues of overlook into the neighbor directly behind us. So in regards to that, I think that we really designed thoughtfully and intentionally with the neighbors in mind, and our proposal is, again, I'm going to say humbly modest in our opinion. And in regards to the mature tree, if I'm not mistaken, Urban Forestry did not suggest refusal. They asked us to submit to permit for a permit to injure the tree, but did not request a refusal for this. So if I'm not mistaken, you know, they are aware of our proposal and that it might need to be cut back slightly, but not so concerned that it will hurt the tree to the point where it will have to be removed. In regards to the soft landscaping, again, there is a turning radius that's required to get into the garage. We played around with trying to cut back some of the paving, and it was requested that, you know, if we can maintain it, would be wonderful. The client spent a lot of time putting in these pavers and making the space something that they use as a family. And so, you know, we decided to proceed with the 9% soft landscaping. If possible, I know that the owner would like to speak. I don't know if he registered, but if that's possible, that would be something that, you know, we would like. But if not, then that's all we have. Thank you.
Okay, if they're not registered, I think we'll let you speak for them.
Okay.
That's fine. Any questions, panel? Nellie?
have you taken steps to consult with the neighbors to
Thank you.
to talk to them, to reach out?
Yeah, so thank you for your question, and I was gonna say that, but I forgot. The owners tried to go over to, after we received the letter of objection and after the public notice was issued, the owners did go over to the dug-in property twice with no luck, trying to connect with them. So yes, we have tried to discuss it, and the owner has gone around to all the neighbors that had concerns and spoke with them as well. So we have, gone out of.
Oh, that's okay, Peter?
Thanks. I'm just looking at a letter from the neighbor to your west, and in it, they've included a rendering of the proposed structure, but the west side of the second floor is being sliced off on an angle.
Mm-hmm.
What's that image, and what's that? Was that your design or is that their design?
Sorry, I'm not exactly that.
pull
That
it
is
up?
our
Which one
design.
is it, Peter?
Yeah, sorry, it's on page 391 of the package.
Mm-hmm. So that was our original design. That was our design. There are two versions of the proposal. And when we submitted to the zoning review, the zoning examiner told us that the 45-degree planes no longer apply to the garden suite regulations. So we decided to keep them on one side and raise them on the other due to headroom issues on the inside of the living space. So, we tried to manage the layout again of all the furniture and the way that the rooms were designed in order so if someone's getting into bed, they would, lay down and they would have minimal headroom issues. Again, in this image, we requested to then raise it up because we were told that the regulation was removed from the garden suite zoning.
Understood, thanks.
I don't know what my colleagues think. I have a real big problem with the landscaping issue. It would be, I think, pretty difficult for us to approve a 9% rear yard landscaping variance. So I would put it to you whether there's an opportunity to significantly improve that.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Chairman, just to clarify, the landscaping condition is, like I said, mostly existing, other than what we're adding for the addition to the garage in order to access the space. So
Fully
I
understand that, but I
yeah.
also understand that you are going to be doing some significant construction in the backyard. Again, I'll just put it to you whether there is any opportunity for you to significantly improve that.
I think I think the clients would be absolutely open to increasing the amount of soft landscaping by perhaps removing some of the existing pavers and replacing them with permeable pavers. I would have to speak with them since they are not here to confirm that, but absolutely that's something that I think we could increase. Is there a specific percentage that you would
again,
know?
it's difficult for us. You're required to provide 50% in your back. And
yeah.
the committee, particularly in the last few years, has been rather strident about this because of the issues associated with runoff.
Yeah.
We're not picking necessarily on you or your client, but this is a pretty standard thing that the panel is increasingly concerned about. So 9% is, I think, speaking for me anyways, a big issue.
Okay.
Permeable pavers help, but you've got a significant portion of your backyard paved.
Correct, yes. Again, it's the access to.
I totally understand that, but again, we're holding everyone to a pretty high standard on this now.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the turning radius and I appreciate the convenience of doing that, but I'm wondering what you can do. I mean, you and your client must have realized that 9% coming in that is a challenge for us.
Of course. We had the conversations with the planner, and again, you know, the planner did not write a report in refusal as well. They understood the existing conditions and the condition of not being able to exclude the footprint, et cetera. So we were under the impression that we had support from planning and that the soft landscaping condition was, again, due to the existing conditions, something that would not.
So I'm in your hands, frankly. I mean, I'm not going to propose anything, but I'd like to hear from you what you think you can do.
Well, I think that we can absolutely increase the soft landscaping. I think we can remove the pavers along the east side. You've seen that we've already provided paving stones in order to increase the soft landscaping along the pathway and towards the back where the bicycle storage is. So perhaps increasing that along the west side to add more soft landscaping, and also perhaps adding that towards the west side. And then seeing whether we can pull away pockets of the paving stones in front of the existing deck in order to provide more soft landscaping along there.
So-
I understand that there is going to be a lot of construction, and if the existing paving stones are compromised, replacing as much of that with pavers, permeable pavers, you know, I'm sure we can.
So I'm going to
look
put it
into
to you,
that.
so I think replacing, you know, the driveway portion with permeable is a good idea. You're going to be pulling those pavers anyways. We will need from you a revised number if you're going to add in new soft landscaping. You've got 9%, 18.88 square meters. We need from you what that percentage would be and what that actual calculation of square meterage would be of adding. You can take a minute or two if you need to do that calculation.
Okay.
We can stand this item down and return when you have that number.
Okay, I can do that right now. Thank you
Okay.
for the opportunity.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Sabrina, can we just stand this one down and go to the next and
Through
come
you, Mr.
back
Chair,
after they do
yes.
the calculations?
Yes.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Is that okay with you guys? Yeah. Everybody okay? Okay. All right. In the meantime, we'll continue on to item number 10. 149 Yarmouth Road. This is an application to alter the existing two-story townhouse dwelling by constructing a rear two-story addition with a ground floor platform and a ground-mounted air conditioner in the side lot line, on the side lot line. Also to construct a one-story detached garage in the rear yard abutting a laneway. The existing rear one-story addition and deck will be demolished. Committee has before it a copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans and elevations, revised site plan, floor plans and elevations received May 27th, covering letter from the agent, a previous decision number affecting subject property. You have a tree protection plan. There is email correspondence from Transportation Services and one form letter in support from 147 Yarmouth and one correspondence and concern from 140, that's the same address? 147 Yarmouth? Okay, that'll see what that's all about.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have the agent and owner here in person as well as the registered speaker in person.
From 147
Yes.
Yarmouth? Okay, guess we'll find out. Good morning, gentlemen.
Hello.
If you have your name and address, please.
Alec Ring, I'm the agent and architect, 557 Lauder Avenue, Toronto, Ontario.
And your colleague?
And
My name's Jeffrey Gibson. I'm the owner along with my wife Lauren. We're at 149 Yarmouth.
Okay. All right, sir. We have someone who wants to speak to this item, so we'll need a presentation.
yeah, so the person who is here to speak is from 147 Yarmouth. She actually had to take off. The reason there's two letters from her, one in support and one against, was initially she had concerns with a couple of the variances. We discussed that with her. We provided her with a letter and sort of what the approach was going to be, and that we were willing to reduce one of them and remove two of the variances. And with that, she is then in support of the project. So I don't think I necessarily need to present, but there were 3 revisions that we were looking to do to the minor variances.
Okay, so you're changing the variance, so let's walk
Yes.
through them
Yeah.
in order.
So for item 1, 147 Yarmouth is on the east side, and so she was concerned about the deck coming to 0 meters from the property line. So we're fine to remove that variance for the east side. We'll pull the deck back to the 0.9 meters as required, but we will be keeping the variance for the west side at 0.
Okay.
Item 2, we are fine with. Item 3, we discussed with her as well, and we are relocating the air conditioner onto the roof of the building, so there's no need for variance 3 anymore.
She's not concerned about noise?
She was concerned about noise between the properties.
Okay.
So she was fine with it on the roof, and
Okay.
I think she mentions that in her letter.
That's fine, and I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, and moving the proposed heat pump to the roof, and that's on the
Okay.
record there. And then the last one is 4. And we explained to her that, so there's an existing addition at the back that's 1 story. We're taking down the 1 story of that. We're reusing the existing foundation and building 2 stories on top. And in order to reuse the existing foundation and also meet building code requirements for exterior insulation and drainage cavity, we do need a little bit more space. When we initially applied for these variances, we left a bit more buffer than we needed there. Now that we've developed the permit drawings, we only need the setback to be 0.39 meters. And if you look, I know it mentions here that the side yard setback is 0.56. If you look at the survey, the existing corner of the existing addition is actually 0.48 meters from the property line. So we're asking for less than 100 millimeters just to overclad, basically what would be overcladding for the insulation. And she was fine with that explanation as well.
Okay, so in summary, you're altering number 1 to eliminate the east side setback. You're eliminating variance number 3, which is the air conditioner, and you're amending variance number 4.
Correct, to 0.39 meters.
0.39. Sabrina, everyone's got that? Okay. Any other changes?
Nope, that's it. I just want to clarify on number 1, we are still asking for the 0 on the west side.
Yeah, it's just the east side you're changing, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. All right, panel, is there any questions? That's helpful. Good that you came to an agreement with your neighbor. We don't have any further questions. We'll take it into committee for a decision. Dylan? I'm sorry, you guys are going both at the same time. And Dylan has been very nice of being deferential here.
Okay.
Nellie, go ahead.
First of all, I'm glad that you had a chance to talk to a neighbor and resolve those issues. Actually, variance number 3 and 4 were on my list that, that concerned me. And again, I'm sorry. I'm glad that, we, amended the number, variance number 4 and the number 3 is gone. So as amended, I would concern, not concern, so I would support this application.
Do you want to move a motion, Nellie?
Unless, would you like to talk? No? Okay, so I'll move a motion to approve this application as amended.
Yeah.
All right, and I don't see any conditions.
No.
All right.
And I'll just second with comment that I was also concerned about variance 3, and I'm very glad that that's been resolved.
Yeah, seems like a reasonable approach. All right, motion.
I'd
So
just like to
Peter?
make a brief comment. I think the solar panels are a really good addition, and the drawing package is very helpful in terms of what you provided, so thanks for that.
So it appears overall, we really like your proposal.
Thank you.
So a motion by Ms. Beauport to approve the amended application, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? You have your approval. Thank you for coming down.
Thanks a lot.
Are we in a position to deal with Walmsley, or the agent has left the building?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I don't see her, so let's
We'll
move
continue
on
on.
to item number 11.
Okay. Item 11 is 25 Earl Grey Road. This is an application to construct a new 3-story detached dwelling with a front porch and stairs, rear deck and stairs, basement walkout, and a rear 3rd floor balcony. Also to maintain the existing 2-story ancillary building containing 1 laneway suite in the rear yard abutting the laneway. Committee has before it copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, previous decision number affecting the subject property, an arborist report. We have staff report from Urban Forestry, and correspondence and support from 273640 Earl Grey Road and 28 Shadell Avenue, and as well as 32 Shadell Avenue.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we don't see the agent online.
Oh.
And we do have 1 registered speaker. They're online.
Is that speaker in support?
It's showing as an interest.
Okay. All right, well, we can't proceed without the agent, so we will have to stand this one down as well. And you have a conflict?
No, I have a call.
Sure, we have quorum still without you, okay?
Yeah.
All right, so we will stand item 11 down until we can reach the agent, and we will proceed with item 12. 25 Parkfield Avenue. This is an application to alter the existing 2.5-story semi-detached dwelling by constructing a rear 2-story addition with rear ground floor stairs. The existing rear ground floor deck and stairs will be demolished. Committee has before it a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 5 photographs of the subject property. We have a covering letter from the agent, previous decision number affecting the subject property, a party wall consent letter from 23 Parkview. There's staff report from Urban Forestry and 3 form letters in support from 20, 27, and 30 Parkfield.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have the agent here in person, no registered speakers.
Good morning. Is it morning still? It is. Good morning, sir. Name and address, please. Is your mic on there, sir?
Green? Oh, now it's.
There you go.
Looked green, but it wasn't dark enough or light enough. William George Harrison, 139 Duvernay Avenue, Duvernay is the way we say it, Toronto M4E1V5, Ontario.
All right, sir. Thank you for coming down, but your application is actually quite minor.
I know that.
And
I actually hadn't been here in years and wanted to kind of.
You just wanted to visit City Hall again.
Actually, to tell you the truth, it's changed a lot.
Okay.
I didn't used to have to go through security to get into a communal space. I find that kind of sad, actually.
Oh, yeah, well, there you go. All right, well, notwithstanding, I don't think we're going to need a presentation today, if that's okay. We may go to questions. We have no questions, sir. We have no questions. We don't need a presentation. Is there, before we take it into committee for a decision, is there anything you'd like to share with the committee?
No, I think I shared it in my covering letter.
Yeah, thought so too. All right, panel, Nellie?
Again, as said, I think it's a straightforward application. We have a condition from forestry, number 2, so I would move forward the motion to approve it with forestry conditions.
Okay, motion by Ms. Volport to approve, subject to forestry conditions, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? You have your approval. Thank you for coming down.
Can you just clarify for me, is it just the tree in the rear yard that we have to?
So have you not seen the forestry?
Yeah, I have, but this is a little Greek to me, to tell you the truth.
The forestry report that we have doesn't specify which tree.
It doesn't specify which trees.
So you'll just have to follow up with them
Okay.
and find out exactly what they are thinking of.
Okay, excellent.
Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right.
Through you, Mr. Chair, let's proceed with item number 13.
Okay. Item 13 is 11 Stanton Avenue. This is an application to alter the existing 2.5-story semi-detached dwelling by constructing a rear 2-story addition, a complete 3rd-story addition with rear balcony, and a rear ground floor deck. Committee has before it copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 3 photographs of trees on the subject property, covering letter from the agent, and an 8-signature petition in opposition signed by owners, occupants of properties on Alton Avenue and Stanton Avenue.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have the agent online, and it's a petition, sorry, it should be in support. It's a petition in
Oh,
support.
yes, it is under the
Yes.
support category, but it reads opposition. Oh, my mistake. Just for the record.
for public record, yeah,
For the
that
public
was-
record, the 8-signature petition is actually in support from owners and properties on Alton and Stanton Avenue. Thanks,
So we'll
Sabrina.
unmute the agent and no registered speakers for this item.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of committee. My name is Oriana Nanoa, located at 87 Skyway Avenue, Suite 200, Toronto. I'm the planner at Design Plan Services, here presenting the application on behalf of the owner.
Okay, so just hang on here a second. It looks fairly straightforward. Panel, does anyone need a presentation? Apologize for the confusion on the letters of support. Do you have support from the attached semi?
Yes, through you, Chair, we do have support from the immediately adjacent neighbor at 9 Stanton Avenue.
Okay. All right, I don't think we need a presentation today, ma'am. We may have questions, but before we do, is there anything you'd like to share with the panel?
Through you, Chair, happy to proceed without a presentation and answer any questions the committee may have.
All right. Any questions, panel? Nellie?
I have questions with regards to variances 3 and 4. It has to do with height of the, so is this something that just the existing condition, or you are extending the height of the exterior walls?
Through you, Chair, the height is being extended at the front and the rear.
Does that answer your question? Okay. All right, any other questions? No, we're okay? All right, let's take this one into committee. Who wants to, anyone have any comments? Peter, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I don't really have significant comments. I think this is a good proposal. The footprint is mostly maintained, and they're just adding a 3rd story with a small addition on the cutout. And I think the impacts of the variances that are being requested are minor. And they're quite small numerically as well. So I have no problem supporting it. I'll move approval without condition.
Okay. Motion to Mr. Reed to approve, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? You have your approval, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
How are we doing with the? Oh, I beg your pardon. Sorry. Ms. Volport has dissented, but that application, motion is approved. Sorry, Nellie. Okay, Walmsley's not back. Is the other one that we're waiting on still? No, okay.
Through you, Mr. Chair, let's just proceed with item
Okay.
number 14.
Item number 14 is 263 GLEBEMOUNT Avenue. This is an application to alter the existing 1-story detached dwelling by constructing a complete 2nd-story addition, a rear 2-story addition, including a basement level, a front integral garage, a front covered porch with stairs, a north side entrance, and a rear deck with stairs. The existing rear 1-story detached garage will be demolished. Committee has before it a copy plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 4 photographs of subject property, and an arborist report. That's
Through
it.
you, Mr. Chair, we do have the agent online. We also have 1 registered speaker in support.
Okay. Good afternoon. No, still good morning, sir.
Hi, good morning. This is This is Mai, and I'm the applicant of this project. And my living address is 803A Young Street, Ontario.
Great, sir. Again, panel, anyone need a presentation? We do have a speaker apparently.
Sorry, through you, Mr. Chair. The speaker that's registered in support is not online any longer.
Okay, but it was support. Yes. Yeah, okay. Panel, does anyone want a presentation on this one?
No, thanks.
Guys, you want a short one? Nellie, you okay? Okay. All right, sir, just it's fairly straightforward, but just a short presentation, if you would, today for the panel.
Yeah, thank you so much for everyone. And this project is quite straightforward and required by the owner. And actually for the whole area, they are increasing the density of the housing and try to solve the housing issue for this area. So as a designer, we quite support this kind of getting slightly bigger house for maybe multiple home office use or multiple functions for the future for the homeowner. So yeah, so this project we require 7 minor variants, but most of them just require regarding because of the bigger size, slightly higher, slightly longer, the setback a little bit bigger.
Okay.
That's it. Thanks.
Questions? Dylan, you had a question?
Yeah, so just, because it's a new build, I'm just wondering about the side yard setback to the north. Why you're not just sticking to the existing side yard setback and where you're expanding the house a little bit northwards?
Yeah, because for the existing building, the width of the size is a little bit tricky. It is not small, but it is not big enough for accommodate a new garage. Because this new design is including a garage in front, so the existing one, they don't. So that's the main reason to increase the width of the building a little bit.
Right, okay, so it's because of the garage.
Yeah,
okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? No? All right, let's go into committee.
Okay, I just want to express my concerns. I understand it's a new build and it goes beyond any existing foundation and the walls. So we have variances 7 and 6 actually connected to this extended, right? So we have more lot coverage that, than required, and we have, especially what concerns me, this, this side yard setback. I'm not that concerned with the floor space index, but I think that maybe this project can be scaled down a little bit just to maybe eliminate those, the variances 6 and 7. Just like to hear your thoughts on that.
All right, comments, guys?
Sure, I think to that point, I mean, they're asking for a variance of about 15 centimeters for the side yard setback, and I don't know if that's how noticeable that would even be, and it appears that there is still sufficient room to maneuver between those houses. So I'm less concerned about that, and I think that similarly the remainder of the variances I believe are quite small, and I don't know if you'd even notice significantly from the street or from the neighboring properties those differences. We're talking about a meter here and there kind of. So I support this.
Okay, anyone else? Dylan?
Yeah, I mean, I share Nelly's concerns, but and I'm normally not very sympathetic to expanding them into a side yard variance beyond what was existing there before. But it is quite a narrow lot, and I don't think you can I don't love integral garages, but if you're gonna put an integral garage, I think that, you know, it's a narrow lot and it kind of limits the scope. So I don't love it, but I think that most of the variances are fairly minor, and so I think I can support it.
Okay, I would just make the note that there are, I mean, we don't consider precedents for these kind of applications, but this street does seem to have a number of similar looking new builds on it, and so I don't think it would be inconsistent. I mean, areas that have a lot of older bungalows are increasingly areas undergoing transition, right? So it's kind of the nature of redevelopment in the city these days. So I would agree. I don't think the variances in context are very significant. So I would support it as well. So I'll look for a motion.
I'll move the motion. For the reasons I stated before, I believe these variances are minor, and I'll move approval without condition.
Okay, motion by Mr. Reed to approve, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? Opposed? Oh, so Nellie, you're in favor? Okay. No, I wasn't sure. Okay.
We persuaded you.
So that is approved unanimously.
Through you, Mr.
Sabrina?
Chair, we'll move on to item number 15,
All right.
and then we'll come back to item 11.
Item number 15 is 16 Elgin Avenue. This is an application to alter the existing one-story ancillary building in the rear yard of the existing two-story dwelling by increasing the height and converting the storage area into cabana, bar, and a bathroom. Committee has before it copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 2 photographs of the subject property, previous decision numbers affecting the subject property. We have an arborist report, presentation materials from the agent. There is a staff report from Heritage Planning, 1 form letter in support from 14 Elgin, and correspondence and concern from 17 Boswell.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have the agent online, no registered speakers for this item.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Richard Wengel, 102 Avenue Road.
I'm sorry, Richard, just if you could just speak up a little bit, having a hard time hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
Are you close to your microphone?
About 6 inches away.
Okay. All right.
Yes, Richard Wengel, 102 Avenue Road. I'm the architect for this proposal.
Okay, sir. We don't have anyone registered to speak on this one. Maybe, Mr. Wengel, just a very short overview of what you're proposing here?
Yes, if we could just go to the presentation material. The first item we'll just address is just the variance required for the extra sink. Just on the page A201 to the page 3. We'll just show you the plan quickly. This is an existing garage that's just been repurposed for a garage and a small entertaining cabana. So if we just go to the next page, right there, there's a variance required for this beverage sink. So this cabana is this building is being repurposed as part cabana, part garage. And so there's a request for this extra sink. And then if we could just go to page 4, there was an error during construction whereby the framer had added the trusses on top of the roof as opposed to cutting in, and you'll see that on the next page. So it was built roofed by the time we realized that there was an issue. So it's a bit of a mansard roof with a sort of peripheral drainage. And so the area in blue is the area of concern. So our main wall heights aren't even at the 4 meters, they're actually below it. And it's just for this component. I know there's some correspondence from number 17, who's not a direct behind neighbor, but if we go to the next 2 pages, we'll just show you quickly the side. You can see that the mansard occurs inside the property line by about almost 0.8 meters, where it actually goes up on a 45-degree angle. It's almost innocuous. And then there's a photograph just taken in front of the building that you can barely see the roof because it's hidden back. So just at the top, you see a little bit of a railing at the top. That's actually the building behind us. You can just see through the middle of the project a little bit of the mansard roof that peaks above the masonry face. So again, this was not with ill intent. It was an error on the framing contractor that didn't cut into the brick as opposed to adding on top. And by the time we were done, it's all roofed, and I feel it is minor. I don't like to be in front of the committee for errors, but this is one where it has happened, and I have to try to advocate for the client at this point. It would be, I think, it's very costly to tear the roof off and redo it. And again, it's only for a partial section, and it's because it's a prefabricated truss that it's complicated to remove at this point.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Sabrina, should this be, since it's already built, should this be a permit rather than under the description, rather than to alter?
Through Mr. Chair, yes.
Yeah, it sounds like it's already built. It was an error by the contractor. Okay, any questions? I think it's a reasonable explanation.
Yeah, for sure. Just for the cabana aspect, so the intention isn't to use this as habitable space, right? It's for basically...
No, it's just entertainment space in the backyard. There's no bedroom. It's just a small sitting area with a washroom and a little bar sink.
Given that there's both food preparation and a bathroom there, are you okay if we put a condition saying it can't be used as habitable space?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, anything else? All right, we're in committee. Dylan, you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's actually kind of charming. I rather like it. Much nicer use than just storage. And I understand the mistake. I think he's quite right. You can't even see it from the pictures. I wasn't even sure if it had been built or not. So I don't think the height is any issue. So I move that we approve this with the condition that the cabana not be used as habitable space.
There is a heritage, I have written down.
Oh, and a heritage condition, yes. Thank you. Yes.
Okay. Motion.
And it's approved as amended? The purpose?
Yes,
you'll
as amended,
amend
thank
to
you,
permit?
yes, as amended.
Okay, motion by Mr. Reed, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? You have your approval. Thank you. Okay, Sabrina, where are we?
3, Mr. Chair. Let's go back to item number 9, because I see the agent back in the room, and I believe there were going to be some revisions on that. Then we'll deal with item 11, and then item 16.
Okay, welcome back. Just for the record, just name and address again.
4 Walmsley Boulevard. My name is Maya Anikovsky, Chase Architecture, 2973 Lakeshore Boulevard West.
Great, thank you. So you've been off speaking with your client?
I have. Thank you so much for the opportunity. So we took a look at the rear site plan and just spoke with my office, who were on AutoCAD doing the calculations as we were speaking. And we can add, would you like me to tell you how we are going to go about it, or do you just want to let you know the percentage?
Yeah, just tell us, they usually describe what you're planning to do.
Sure.
And then if you have revised numbers, you can share them with the panel.
Sure. So if you look at the site plan, the proposed site plan, we are going to remove the pavers directly at the bottom of the existing deck and create 2 planters on either side of the stairs. Then we're also going to continue that planter along the east property line to connect with the semicircular planter, and then continue further north until it connects with the green space and the entrance to the garden suite. And we're also going to widen the soft landscaping along the west as far as we can in both directions, so as to not adversely affect the way that the owners can get into their parking spaces. And that calculation came to 20%.
Okay, so you are amending variance number 1 to where it was 9% and 18.88 square meters. You're amending that to 20%. And what's the square meter?
I don't have the square meter calculation on me. I'm so sorry.
We need it.
You need it? Okay, I'm going to have to go back out.
Okay, and while you're speaking, so I think you and your client were going to replace some of the existing pavers with permeable pavers.
So we're going to remove, those are going to be removed fully to get to the 20% where we mentioned. They're going to be fully removed. And the client they put this drive in, I guess, 4 years ago, and like I said, spent a good amount of money, so they would like to maintain as much of it as possible. Hopefully it will not be damaged during construction, to just get them into...
I get that. Would they be open to replacing those pavers with permeable?
My understanding is that they would like to maintain the existing pavers that for the drive to the garage as they are, with the paving stones as they are, and then increasing the soft landscaping through removing them fully in the areas that we mentioned, along the east, along the west,
Okay.
in front of
So,
the deck.
your client, or your client is not open to removing and replacing the pathway into the driveway with permeable pavers?
My understanding is that they are not, but if I go out to get you the exact square meter
I think you should
calculation-
confirm that with them.
I will confirm that with them.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Stand this
Um,
one down again. We have, how many do we have left in the morning
Through you,
session?
Mr. Chair, 2 more left. Item
We only have
number-
2 more in our morning session, so if you could,
I'll do it very
with
quickly.
haste, that would be good. Thank you. Sorry,
Through you,
guys.
Mr. Chair, then we'll proceed with item number 11.
Okay, 25 Earl Grey Road. I think I read this into the record already, so the agent is now with us.
Yes, and we do have 1 registered speaker in interest online.
Okay. This is number 11, so this is Mr. Saunders?
Michael, you have been unmuted.
Michael Saunders, you've been unmuted.
He's a fairly regular guy here.
Do you want to try calling him? Through you, Mr. Chair, we're going to try to call him.
Okay.
At the tone, please record your message.
So should we, if we
Let's-
got another one to do?
Yes, we can deal with item number 16 and try to get in contact with the agent for item number 11.
Item number 16. I don't think I read this into the record, did I?
Through you, Mr. Chair, no, you haven't.
Okay. Item number 16 is 53 WOODYCREST Avenue. This is an application to alter the existing 2.5-story semi-detached dwelling by constructing a front 1-story addition with a covered porch, front partial 2nd and 3rd story additions, a rear basement walkout, and a rear 3-story addition with decks on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd levels. Also to construct a new parking pad in the rear yard of the property abutting the laneway. The existing rear detached garage will be demolished. There'll be a total of 3 residential units on this lot. Committee has before it copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 2 photographs of the subject property, email correspondence from Transportation Services and from Metrolinx. There are 10 form letters in support from 82, 86 Langford and 42, 45, 48, 56, 62, 64, 71, 75 WOODYCREST Avenue.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have the agent online and 1 registered speaker in opposition online.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Tasneem Badruzama. I'm the agent of the owners. The address is 160 The Westway, Etobicoke, from Replacement Design.
Great, ma'am. We have someone who wants to speak to this item, so we'll need a short presentation, please.
For sure. If you could please pull up the presentation which was submitted, yes. So on the second page, you can see just a note about the front yard setback. This is a technical variance being triggered because we're rebuilding the front story addition. We're just going slightly wider and rebuilding the front porch. The front yard setback itself doesn't change. Existing is 5.98 meters, and the proposed will be the same. Moving on to the next page, it speaks of the landscaping variance in the rear yard. There is currently about 25% of the required 50% of the rear yard is a soft landscaping. The existing garage has since been demolished. Since the completion of the survey, it has been demolished, and there is just a parking pad there now. The proposal is to move this closer to the lane to increase the soft landscaping in the rear yard. Once we have the addition built there, to still keep about the same square meters of landscaping. We have several examples of properties with variances for soft landscaping with much lesser numbers that have been approved on the street. Moving on to the next page. This one speaks of the requested main wall height variance. The required is 8.5 meters, and our addition is basically about 5 feet 6 inches on the main floor, 2 feet further on the floors above. If we were to build an as-of-right building where we were to eliminate the height of main wall variance so that we achieve the clearance we require on the 3rd floor in terms of ceiling height, we would potentially be able to stick with the 8.5 meters that is the required main wall height. However, we've gone only as far as we need with the addition. This does require the proposed main wall height to be 9.47 along the rear, and along the front that would be 9.44 meters. And this is just because of a dormer addition on the front. If you look at the drawings, which were submitted as part of the application, Z10 and Z12. Z12 is the exterior elevation for the proposed front dormers. The dormer width that's proposed is 50% of the entire wall area. If this were under 40, then there would be no variance for main wall height for the front.
Okay.
I think that's pretty much all that we have to say. But I do see that there's a letter of objection submitted early this morning by the attached neighbor at 55, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Maybe we'll go to our speaker first.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we'll unmute the owner at 55 WOODYCREST Avenue.
Good afternoon, sir.
Oh, good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me speak today. I think...
Sir, just before you start, your full name and address for the record, please.
Okay, sorry about that. My name is Curtis Monty, and my address is 55 WOODYCREST, Toronto, Ontario, M4J3A8.
Okay, you have 5 minutes.
Okay, so I think in understanding the intent of the development next door, I believe the intent is to achieve the required density of 3 units, and I believe that is, I think there's an alternative solution to this. I believe that maximizing the full rear yard allowable setback is an egregious amount of density added in proximity to my house. That it is encroaching because of the soft landscape portion. They are now approaching, an additional. I think it's 18 feet beyond our house, and it causes great alarm for me and my family, and also the tenancy that we have in our unit. There will be impacts on our property with respect to our views from and I'd like to note that Also, first of all, that the house in question at 53 WOODYCREST was recently renovated in 2016 to already maintain 2 fully approved residential units. And the third unit, I believe fully that that could be achieved within the development of a lane house out the back, which again, I think the applicant has spoken to is currently an empty parking pad without any alterations to the structure or the sort of additional wall-like barrier that we would have. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That would be what we'd be staring at. And I think the item in gray is basically represents the duality of the semi attached in terms of its volume. And the addition of this in proximity to my property will block our views. It will absolutely obstruct daylighting into our garden, which we have full perennial gardens, and we take a great care and great pride in growing our vegetables, our fruits, and our beautiful flowers, and all which would be in shade. I spoke with Jordan Chow earlier, and I did provide a presentation. He said that could be pulled up on request, and I've done some massing studies that just show the before and after and how impactful this is to, there you go. If we could just go, I think right here, this is the first item. I think this is basically a Google Maps aerial version of what the current sort of state of WOODYCREST Avenue and the rear yard laneway is, which is an absolute general step down from the 3rd floor, stepping down towards the laneway. And there is no precedent at the moment for a rear yard addition that maximizes the full build out of what's allowable, and to go 3 full stories is unprecedented in the neighborhood currently. So if we go to the next slide, I've done just sort of a quick schematic diagram that just shows that in general that, you know, there is a predominantly consistent stepping from the front to the back through the laneway, which this application is completely sort of outside of, and again, it is sort of inconsistent and unprecedented in the neighborhood. Next slide. These are massing studies. On the left, it shows the current conditions. On the right, it shows what the existing, or sorry, the proposed would be. And I just want to note the small squares at the very back of the house, the lowest of the massing, represents our 2nd floor terrace as well as the neighboring 2nd floor terrace. And so if we just go across sort of from left to right in comparison, you'll see the detrimental impact of the shadowing on not only on our deck, but the lack of any views that currently, because of our tenancy on the 1st floor, we will no longer have use as beneficial use to our 2nd floor terrace off of our kitchen, which would be completely in shade for the most part of the day. Next slide is just going to continue through the dates where, you know, there's perfect shadow, there's perfect access to light on the left, and there is sort of a limited access to light on the right, considering this this proposal. Keep going, please. Yeah, so this is in September. So I think what I'd like to see is maybe we can go to the very last slide. The very last slide. And so my point is that this house, again, in 2016, had already been fully renovated to sort of include 2 suites, a ground floor and basement, and a 2nd and 3rd story suite. So that's 2. Whereas the rear yard, which would be a prime location for a lane suite, would give you the required density that you are that the applicant is desiring, and it would have no bearing, very little bearing in construction in terms of it being an independent case scenario where construction could happen. And quite frankly, I'm very concerned with the sort of these are 100-year-plus old houses.
Okay, so I'm just going to ask you to wrap up, please. You're well past your time.
Sure. Yeah, sure. I'm saying that I'm very concerned with the impact of the construction on a foundation and the roof structures that would affect the envelope and the thermal integrity of my house as well.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions, panel? Okay, if we could have the agent back.
Yeah, in speaking to Mr. Curtis's recommendation about a lane.
Sorry, ma'am, I'm just going to ask you to speak up a little bit, please.
Oh, am I audible now?
That's much better, thank you.
Okay, so yeah, in speaking with Curtis's recommendation about a laneway suite at the back, we did discuss this with the homeowner. However, the construction cost of the laneway suite is exponentially higher than just building an addition of the rear for the existing house. In addition, a laneway suite would have to be set back 1 meter from the rear lot line. This pushes the laneway suite itself much closer to the existing 2.5-story building on the lot. We will have lesser soft landscaping, and in general, the intent of the owner is to construct an addition on the existing property rather than putting down new foundation for a laneway suite at the back. They also do want to maintain some amount of parking, and if we were to have 2 parking spots in that laneway suite, they would be undersized. The size of the suite itself wouldn't be big enough to accommodate the 1 bedroom that they're looking for in the additional unit on the 3rd floor with 3rd floor addition.
Okay. That's it? Thank you. Any questions of the agent? Okay, let's take it into committee. Comments? Nellie?
My comments, it's,
It's a little closer to your mic there.
Okay, yeah, so, we have 4 variances in front of us, and I think, each variance may not be as dramatic as, as it looks like, but I think in aggregate, it results in something which is, I think the massing of this house is beyond what I think is fit for this neighborhood, and I think that there is no way to mitigate the privacy issues, because the balconies are small, like no amount of no amount of I think effort to kind of close the balconies will mitigate the privacy concerns. So and I think it's way beyond what should be. So I cannot.
Okay. Anyone
support
else?
This application.
Peter?
Sure, thanks, Chair. I was surprised. I mean, this is a very large building that's being proposed, and I was surprised that there weren't more variances, or that the variances weren't larger than what we have here. So I'm seeing something that's, I think, quite close to as of right in terms of what's being proposed. The dormer, variance 2 is the dormer, so I think I don't have any issue with that. And then variance 1 is the maximum main wall height, which is less than a meter over what's permitted. And I don't know, I feel like I have to support this because I think what's being proposed is quite close to what's permitted, even though it does appear very large, particularly in relation to the semi that it's attached to.
Thanks, Peter. Sabrina, was this a waiver or was this an examiner?
Zoning exam.
Okay, thanks. Dylan?
My apologies, I actually meant to ask a couple of questions.
Would you like to go out of committee?
Yeah, could we?
We're back out of committee and we have a question.
So did you say that the parking pad is being adjusted or moved?
Correct. The parking pad is being moved closer to the lane, just to reduce the amount of driveway.
Would you be, given the limited rear yard soft landscaping, would you be amenable to a condition that the parking pad be is it, what is it actually at the moment? Is it just earth or is it?
It would be asphalt, but we are happy to have that be permeable pavers.
Okay, that'd be great, thank you. And then the second question is, just for the front, are you okay if we tie it to site plans and elevations, just so that the front, so that variance 3 really only applies to the front porch?
The homeowner might not end up building the proposed addition at all, because again, that's not a cost, something that we're looking to minimize on the project altogether. If the condition were to read that the addition or the front yard setback applies just to the first story addition, that should be fine as a condition.
Okay, so variance 3 only applies to the first story condition.
That should be fine. That should be agreed.
Okay, thank you. Those are questions
Okay,
I have.
we're back in committee. Dylan, you want comments?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with both of my colleagues. I mean, the key difference is variance 1, but even as my colleague pointed out, it's really just a meter. I don't think that would make a big difference in terms of the impact on the neighbor. Like the neighbor made an excellent presentation and showed that there was going to be a significant impact on their property, and I'm very sympathetic. But you know, if we denied variance 1, I don't think it would make much difference. It would just be 1 meter. It wouldn't actually make a significant difference to the impact on their property. The other variances don't really affect them at all. So, you know, the length is basically as of right. The height is essentially as of right, except for the main wall thing. You know, I guess we could try to make sure that even if the rear was sloped a little bit to address variance 1, it wouldn't make a significant difference on the impact on the neighbor. Like their terrace would still be overshadowed and all that. So unfortunately, although I really sympathize with the neighbor, effectively, even an as of right impact will have the same effect. So I think that I will support this.
Okay.
With
I
the
always
conditions I know.
I always find myself conflicted on applications where the adjacent semi is raising very serious concerns, and you look at the side elevation, and I appreciate that it's almost as of right, but the massing is fairly significant on an adjoined property, and I think that the impact, I thought the 55 owner of 55 did a really good job of articulating the impact, and I think in this, for me, in this instance, I think the impact is significant. So I appreciate that it's pretty close to as of right, but notwithstanding, I think the impact is significant. So I think I know where this is going, but
well, are you would you
if you
feel like denying 1, but
if you
allowing
eliminate one,
others?
you have to redo the proposal. You're refusing the whole thing.
Right.
For all intents and purposes.
You don't think they could adjust the rear?
They'd have to, again, you know, what would that mean in terms of the dormer width and everything else? So I think it might have consequential impacts on the other variances, or it might even generate new variances. I don't know. So for me, I find it again great to add residential or sort of rental accommodation into an existing neighborhood. We're all supportive of that, but when you get a semi proposal for a semi that actually significantly affects the adjacent semi, I'm sympathetic to that owner.
I would just add that I think any improvement will be improvement, right? That's, even if it looks small, cumulative effect, but as you can see from the elevations and drawings, is quite dramatic. So even
I get it. I think we're playing with fire if you just refuse 1 rather than the whole thing. That'd be my view. So, maybe let someone try a motion and see where this goes.
I'll make a motion. I think you all make good points. I think that this will have a dramatic impact on the neighbor. But I still believe that an as-of-right structure would have almost exactly the same impact. And I think it's one of these instances where the built form, what's there, doesn't really reflect the zoning, right? Which is a big departure. And yeah, it's not the loveliest building from the side, but I think I'm just trying to remain focused on the variances, which I believe are minor. So I'll move approval of the application with the condition that the rear parking area be constructed with permeable pavers, and that variance 3 applies only to the first floor portion of the porch.
Okay, motion by Mr. Reed to that effect.
I will second, because I think that if we refuse it, something as of right will come and it'll have the same impact. Like, I just don't, I'd rather approve this with the conditions that we have that mitigate a couple of things. They can come back with an as of right or almost as of right that will have the same impact. So I don't really see any reason. I don't really think it's appropriate to just deny it. If there was some substantial difference with as of right, I would gladly, but at the moment, we deny it, it comes back, something as of right or with only a couple minor things, it still has the same impact. So
Okay.
I'm going to second the motion.
All right, motion by Mr. Reed, seconded by Mr. Reed, to approve with those conditions. All in favor? Opposed? And I will abstain to avoid a tie. The application is approved. Okay,
Through you,
where are
Mr.
we
Chair.
at there, Sabrina?
We'll hear item number 11, and then we'll go back to item 9. Sorry, only because item 11 has been
Waiting.
waiting.
Okay. All right. Back to 25 Earl Grey Road. Sorry, it was the agent we couldn't
So through
connect
you,
with
Mr. Chair,
before?
we do have the owner online who will be speaking. We do have one registered speaker in interest.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. It's Jacqueline Freeman, 25 Earl Grey Road. I apologize. I think you were expecting my agent and not myself. I've been on since 9:30, but I apologize for the confusion.
Okay, you're comfortable taking the panel through your application?
I am. It's very brief, kind of. As you can see, I'm looking to increase the square footage, floor space, as well as the distance between the laneway and the main residence. So what had happened with this property is when I bought it, I built a laneway with the intention, I've got a disabled daughter adult daughter, of moving her into the laneway, and I would live in the main residence. The laneway actually got pushed out into a U-shape to accommodate a tree. And because of that, then the distance between the laneway and the proposed build is 6.22 meters, and it's supposed to be 7.5, as you're all aware. The original design had the tree removed. It was approved by the building. I got a building permit, but Urban Forestry said, no, we want that tree preserved. So if you see the laneway, it's a U shape to accommodate that tree. And for that reason, the distance between the laneway and the main house is less than the required 7.5 meters. I did find at least one other laneway in my neighborhood that had less than 7.5 meters, and that was at 85 Condor Avenue. It's 6.7 meters they have between the two. There's also one at 11 Sheedell Avenue, which is 4.19 meters between the laneway and the main residence. The other one that is at issue is the size. In the comparables extra late material folder, there are a number of variances that have been approved in our neighborhood. And I started at the Bs for Bolt B, and I got up to 9 of them before I realized that there were so many in our neighborhood that it seems like mine was relatively minor compared to what others were doing.
Okay.
I should indicate, I do have letters of support, including from my neighbor, my adjoining neighbor to the north and to the south as well, and neighbors across the street.
Okay, great, thank you. Any burning questions? We have a speaker lined up. Okay, let's go to the speaker.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we'll unmute the owner at 16 Earl Grey Road.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Name and
Wonderful.
address, please.
My name is Charlene Saint-Amand, and I'm at 16 Earl Grey Road. So yeah, I have no oppositions to the building itself. That's great. I'm always thrilled when neighbors can improve the home that they're in. I think my only question was in relation to the arborist report, and there was mention of tree number 3 having a significant root damage. And just because it's sort of the one big tree that we have in the neighborhood on this end of the street. And if that tree was to be damaged, which it could in theory be with 25% of the root system being removed, that was my main concern because it's such a loved tree by the neighborhood.
And this tree is in the front yard?
It's on the side. You'll see at the bottom, tree number 3. So it's just a little bit back from Earl Grey Road. And I just couldn't tell based on the images. I mean, it looks like it's really, really close to the house, which means the root system is going to be impacted, as well as clearly it's going to have to be pruned. But I was just wondering if there was any way to protect the tree while still being able to move forward with the desired plans.
Okay, thank you. We'll put that question to the owner. Any questions of the speaker? No. All right, we can have the owner back, please.
Yes, the tree is actually located on 28 Heathdale Avenue, but it's right on the property line with 25 Earl Grey. I've submitted a letter of consent from the owner of the tree. We have an agreement subject, obviously, to urban forestry to remove the tree in favor of planting 3 to 5 mature trees, and the owner's in agreement with that. I can tell you that this property is very difficult to work with. I had to work around tree number 5. Now I'm trying to work around tree number 3. As you can see, the tree protection zone is almost the entirety of the property at the whatever percentage it is. And there's just really no way to build any kind of a basement without that tree either being injured or removed.
Okay, and the arborist report notes that this is a Norway maple, the tree in question?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any questions, panel? All right, let's take this into committee. Dylan.
Yeah, so I've actually did a site inspection because this is in my neighborhood. Yeah, the laneway suite is very interesting because it is built around the tree. And I think that really mitigates the impact of this variance, which isn't that huge anyway. But it clearly, if they had been able to build the laneway suite without working around the tree, it probably would already be the distance required. And the fact that there is that kind of indentation with the tree, I think mitigates the overall impact. So I have no problem with this. It is too bad about the tree coming down, but Norway maples are, invasive. So, there will be new trees coming in. I would support this with forestry condition.
Yeah, I would just note that the height is if it was 7.5 meters, the height of the laneway suite would conform to the bylaw.
Yeah, exactly. It's only just over a meter difference, and like I said, because there's that indentation, that actually mitigates the impact. in any
Okay,
case.
motion by Mr. Reed
So that's
to
with
approve,
with forestry
subject to
condition
forestry condition number 2. Seconded by Mr. Reed, all in favor? Great, you have your approval, thank you. All right, Sabrina, where are we at?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we'll go back to item number 9 and we'll ask the agent to come back up.
Okay, welcome back.
Sorry, just turn on your mic one more time, thank you.
Were you successful in your deliberations?
Yes, I hope so. I hope in your mind we were. 20% soft landscaping.
Sorry, let's just go, this is variance number 1.
Yes.
So you're amending this to, from 9% and 18.88 to 20% and
41.73.
41.73. Okay?
And the owners have agreed to all the rear being replaced with permeable pavement.
That's a great solution. Good. All right. Panel, any questions? Dylan?
Yeah, just in terms of the impact on the east side, I was just wondering why the entrance to the garden suite is on the side as opposed to the front.
Again, I believe that was, sorry, because I know one thing I noticed is that there's a mistake on the elevation. The door is incorrectly shown in the elevation because we previously had it further back.
Right.
The side is for the reasons, for the aesthetic appearance of it from the rear of the existing building and providing more privacy to the user of the laneway suite.
I see, okay. And it looks like the roof is actually going to extend basically to the property line?
So we have a projection of an architectural detail to provide protection for as you're entering into the space, yes.
Right, and did that go right to the property line?
It's going to go as close to the property line as it's allowed to without it being a variance, and that was not any trigger of a variance on the proposal, so,
Okay.
yeah.
So that's a separate variance because
Yeah,
of-
exactly. It's not directly to the property line. I'm not sure I have the actual calculation right there of how close it is, but it's not right at the property line, providing enough room for all of the rainwater to be obviously kept on the property
Right,
and
yeah, you
not
don't
on the
have the- you don't
neighbors.
have the
Yes.
eaves,
Yeah.
okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Nellie?
Just to confirm, is there a window on the northern side of the?
There is a window on the north, but it's set back 2.2 meters, and it's just at the top of the landing of the stairs to provide some light to come into the stairway because it's very narrow, the way that it's designed. So we do have a window, but again, it's set back from the property line a significant amount, and at the, since it's in a place of where someone will be moving constantly and not sitting or standing, we believe that from a privacy perspective, it's not going to have any adverse effects on the neighbors to the north.
Would you be okay if we had a condition that the window be frosted?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, because
No.
the neighbors were concerned about
Yes,
privacy.
that's
I think that would help
absolutely fine.
address.
Yes, we just wanted to get some natural light,
Yeah, yeah.
daylighting into the space, yeah.
Okay, great, thanks.
Okay, anyone else? All right, thank you. Let's take this into committee. You two are gonna have to get this sorted out.
We'll talk about that later, okay. So with regards to all the variances, not, aside from the variance number 1, which is soft landscaping, and I think we're kind of moving towards some progress there, I do have serious concerns about all the setbacks. We have all the variances 2, 3, 4. It's the side and north. All the again, all those setbacks and the and the resulting structure. It's a beautiful design, by the way. Yeah, I like the design, but I think it's not the right place for that kind of design. Again, it's not the lane. It's not the off-street location. So this lot is surrounded by small lots, and the structure is kind of imposing if you compare it to whatever, vista or neighbors have to look at. So based on that, I cannot support this application.
Okay. Anyone else? Peter?
Sure, Chair. Yeah, I agree with Nellie. I wanted to support this application. I really like that it's using the existing footprint, but I think there's some issues that arise with that. I think Mr. Mills made some good points, I think, in his submissions. But for me, the main concern is at the north end is the going straight up without a setback there of 1.5 meters. I think that visual massing right in someone's backyard will have an impact that would be different than if it were set back. And I think there are structural ways of dealing with walls being set back over an existing structure. And particularly, and this is also to Nellie's point, I think, is there is a lot of room on this site towards the main house to work with different massing structures and lessen the burden of impacts on the neighbors. And still, I appreciate the increase in the soft landscaping, but I still think that this is a large site that should be able to provide more than that. So I won't be supporting this.
Dylan?
Yeah, I'm of two minds too. I mean, for me, part of it is I feel like a lot of the design, it is a beautiful design, and I do appreciate that there was a slope, on the east side to mitigate that impact. At the same time, I do feel like a lot of the design is designed to convenience the existing owners as opposed to the neighbors. And for me, the east side setback, for example, would there be a way of having the access to the garden suite not be one that reaches really close to the neighbor, was a concern of mine. So I'm of two minds, but if my colleagues think that this is not appropriate, then I can go with that.
Okay, I'll look to someone for a motion then.
I can bring a bringing a motion forward to refuse this application.
Okay, motion to refuse.
Through you, Mr. Chair, as amended.
Yeah, as amended. Motion to refuse the amended application, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? And I will dissent. The motion is, your application is refused. Okay, does that conclude our morning?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, we'll resume at 2 p.m. Thank you.
Okay.